guide up here for the endings, but it doesn't spoil anything, so I'm okay with that. Well, I was telling my mom this story. Oh, here, let's pop over to. I was telling my my mom this story, and I'm like, yep, I had to read. The first hour and a half was kind of boring because we just rehashed everything. But then I got to read about someone, about rape, and also waterboarding with poop water. Like, it was a story. I hope you guys are doing well tonight. How's the rest of your stream, by the way? Enjoying Octagon? Octodad? I was shocked at how much more comfortable I felt around her only one day following our opening up to each other. Maybe this was normal and I had simply never felt it before. I didn't know. This chapter is called Life in the Light. I had thought it would take years of work to get close enough to someone to be able to have a conversation without picking apart every little detail. But here I was, a day later, already there. Was that how it usually worked? Did people normally get close and draw apart so freely? I didn't find it unpleasant to have someone else around. It was a strange feeling. All that friction had dissipated in an instant, and it was like we had known each other for years. But not entirely willingly, we began sharing meals, something I had always done by myself. Hey, I see you shoving aside that parsnip. You need to eat everything. Do you have any idea why there were so many rotting parsnips in the cellar? I don't care for it. You could at least pretend to be ashamed. Eesh, you're not a kid, so don't be so picky. It's not good for you. Hasn't caused any problems thus far. It will soon enough. Can't believe you. We have limited supplies and you won't eat your vegetables. Good day, you can have some rest. Vondervox, what's going on? Oh, question. I've got an idea. Go on. Is the list of supplies sent by your family set in stone? Meaning, I was just wondering if it was possible to make requests. If I could, I would just go out shopping. I would just go out on a shopping trip. Perish the thought. The only village around here is the one you came from. Right. Yeah, that didn't go over too well. Are you saying that out of concern for... Who would ever be concerned about you? I just want to be able to sleep well at night. Not too bad. Not too bad. A little confuzzled on this game, but working through it, and I want to see how it turns out. And I'm not interested in throwing more servants to the lions. You know, you're a whole lot simpler of a person than I first thought. What's that supposed to mean? Oh, nothing. Back to your question about the delivery. Yes, you can. I haven't made any requests recently, but you can write what you want on a sheet of parchment, or, if we don't have any, something similar. Put it in the box and leave it outside. As long as your request is not completely unreasonable, it should arrive with the next package. Why? Is there something you need? How about you? How was your day, Vondervox? Yeah, I was hoping to increase our selection of vegetables, and while I'm at it, if possible. Actually, that's a secret. A secret? It's nothing too exciting. I'll tell you when the time is right. It's Vegemite. We're screwed. I hate this place. My relationship with Michael gradually transitioned from master and servant to something closer to friends. He was still my master, but he allowed me almost complete freedom. He didn't order me around either. He even gave me a hand with my work. Though he was still not very talkative and oftentimes hard to read, he at least seemed to be making an effort to close the gap. He would on occasion tell me about himself. Though not in much detail, and any time his family came up, he grimaced uncomfortably. Apparently his father had wanted him dead. His brothers, though, had worked to create a scenario in which he could live, faking his death and sending him to this remote mansion. I had never encountered Michael's brothers while at his family's estate, but assuming he was right, and it was one of them who had given me that letter, they were likely our only allies at that house. I don't know what he's thinking. It's been 10 years, Michael had muttered, to which I had replied, have faith. It was better to believe in something, even if it felt silly and unreasonable, than to lose faith in everything. My being able to find renewed belief in the kindness of people was what had allowed me to start smiling again after all. Because I was able to have that faith. I was able to enjoy life once more. It wasn't an exciting or thrilling life. It was a humble, simple one with just the two of us. But I wouldn't trade that light for anything. Some people might think it dull or dreary, but it was ours. And they have a corgi butt. Fire. Master, I really truly appreciate that you want to help with the cooking. I do honestly, but this is apocalyptic. This is mutinous. This is an affront to gastronomy. This is unearthly disgusting. Get me better ingredients. What? I'm not a bad cook. These are simply bad ingredients. If they were better, they would taste just fine boiled. And it's not as bad as you claim. Besides, you make a mockery of the culinary arts. I've been eating this for years. I don't see the problem. I've heard quite enough, Master. Sounds like I'm going to need to put your taste buds through some intense rehabilitation. I have to teach him what real food tastes like. Otherwise, you won't be able to appreciate it if I make him something really good. It's fucking raw! Where is the lamb sauce? Hold the chair steady for me, will you? I'm going to wipe down the top shelf. I can handle it. I'm tall enough to reach without standing on a chair. It's not as simple as just running a rag over it. Oh, she winks. Ill done. Ill done. You might want to look away for a moment or two. I'm sorry. Sorry, buddy. I've got practice, so let me take care of it, alright? There's a lot more dust than I expected. I probably should have used something to cover my mouth. You're going to want to hold your breath for this, Master. Alright, here goes. He's quite practiced. Is there any need for me to be holding the chair? Big sneeze. What? Whoa. Hold the chair. I'm so sorry. I didn't think there would be that much dust. Thank you for holding the... Master? Your hand is... What? Your hand is, it's on my chest. No, it was an accident. Right, it was. It's fine, really. It was my fault anyway. It's completely, totally fine. Can't even look her in the eyes. Could this be any more painfully awkward? So don't worry about it. Honestly, I should be apologizing for subjecting you to that. It's easier said than done. I have to do something about this stifling awkwardness. For one, it was only for a moment. I barely even realized what it was, but that's not the issue. I need some clever way to brush all this aside. Something witty. Tell us I'm not bothered at all. I'm not concerned. In fact, I see no reason to be concerned at all. It felt like I was squeezing an obese rat. I hardly even perceived it as a breast. An obese rat? What? How utterly insensitive can you be? I'm going to rip every last hair off your head. Leave my hair out of this. Alright, they're starting to get a little too goofy here. Let's get sad again. Let's get back into being sad. We're not squeezing rat boobs. Say, Master, what did you do all this time all by yourself? That's an exceedingly vague question. Say when you were really, really stupidly bored out of your mind, what do you do to keep yourself occupied? Meditate? Close. Just how many times have you reached enlightenment? Oh my god, can you calm the shit down, Ildan? Thank you for letting me know. I sometimes played chess too. By yourself? Yes, I imagine how an opponent might react to my moves and play the other side that way. That's kind of depressing to think about. How about this, Master? Play a game against me. Do you know the rules? You bet I do. I do come from a family of merchants, so I have to keep up with trends and know all sorts of games. Prepare to meet your maker. So, who was I supposed to prepare to meet again? Come on, have a little mercy. You trounced me. One more time. I just wasn't at the top of my game. When am I going to meet this maker? What? How? When did you put me in checkmate? One more. Oh, hold on, that's not fair. Take it back. My king. Please stop. Amateur. Can you just go a little bit easy? You never asked me to go easy. This isn't a game, this is a slaughter. This is a one-sided massacre. About this maker, I'm looking right at him. It's actually kind of fun. No, it wasn't. It was miserable. Next time we're playing something fair. Such as? Let's see. Oh, I know. Arm wrestling. Arm wrestling? Yeah, you sit across from each other, put your elbow on the table, grab hands since you can pin the other down. Who would ever willingly participate in such a primitive competition? Not interested then? Or are you afraid you might lose? Alright then. I can't imagine losing to a woman. Okay, elbow on the table. Start on my count. Ready? Go! Victory! I gotta remember to keep my saves up. Oh yeah, this is way too much happiness in this little start. They're gonna bring us down hard. With each passing day, it grew less and less unusual having Giselle always at my side. I began more freely engaging in silliness, speaking my mind and showing emotion. I could say her name, and Giselle would turn around and smile at me. An unimaginable sight not long ago. For 10 years I had lived alone. Solitude had been my normal. I was very rapidly changing at her hands. We were continually getting closer, yes, but not in a romantic sense. If I had to describe it, I would say good friends was probably the most apt. Time continued to press on, our relationship remaining relatively stable. Eventually summer came, bringing with it the longest periods of sunlight I had experienced in many years. Then the leaves began falling from the trees, and before long, the world grew cold and dreary. That winter, the fireplace was never without a crackling blaze in its belly. The boiled wine we drank was undoubtedly middling and cheap, but she said with a smile, "I've never had wine this good before." And though I didn't say anything, I felt the same way. The sun set much earlier, and having stopped using candles, we found ourselves habitually gathering around the fireplace when it grew dark. Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes it feel as if we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? But that's why troubadours perform at pubs, so they can be near the fire. Or because there's ale. Drunkenness makes even bad singing storytelling pleasant to the ears. Oh, you're such a cynic. That's okay. Hey. Yes. You remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? Please don't tell me you're bringing the obese rat incident back up. No, not that. Before that. Before we could actually talk to each other. I believe I suggested we read something together if you ever felt the inclination. You might have. Can't say I remember. Oh god, she's playing the long game. Fucking got you good. Are you sure about that? You turned down my proposal saying I was wasting my time. But look, it actually happened. Even if you don't remember, I'm sure you never thought this moment would come. I was, for the most part, focused on making sure things didn't get any worse. But to be honest, I didn't expect there would ever actually come a time where we would that was close. Sit shoulder to shoulder and read a book. You never know how things might pan out. I actually do remember. I remember how I tried to push her away, how much I mistrusted her. I was nothing but hostile towards her. Change, and perhaps if they can, so can the future. Maybe I can hope. That like our friendship, there's a chance the future might take a turn for the better. Is something the matter? I don't care much for hypotheticals, but if by some chance I were someday to be able to return to that house, should that time come, that house is home to her nightmares. Even if it didn't happen until after my father was gone, the one erase would have been done to her there. Looks like nothing's wrong, though. No. Have her wounds healed, or do they still remain? Did that time come? If that day comes, I will do what I can to ensure you have a comfortable life in the city. If I not be able to inherit the estate, I can work something out. I see. Thank you very much. But if you would be comfortable doing so, I would be pleased if you were to join me. I mean, as a servant. As a servant. Yes, a servant. We're short on hands. I see. A servant. Do I really need to repeat myself? Yes. Alright, sure. I think I will. I'd like to accompany you, Master. How exciting. I'm sure a wonderful future awaits us. I pray so. Now back to the story. I believe we had just gotten to the point where the knight set out to defeat the monster and save the princess. But he was big, buff, muscular knight. Let's not talk about how muscular he was. But a gentle laugh, and I thought I smelled something sweet on her breath. Was it her scent, or perhaps it was just my imagination? I had no way of knowing. We sat so close, even the slightest shift seemed sufficient to allow me to hear the sound of her heartbeat, causing mine to accelerate. Curiosities flooded my mind. What might she be thinking about right now? What did she think about me? And as much as I tried to banish them, I frustratingly failed. I was just getting caught up in the moment. I had just briefly lost my way. Though I tried to convince myself otherwise, it was all in vain. When had my pulse gone so rapid? When had my skin gone so flushed? When? How? Why was this happening to me? I thought I had already learned my lesson about having feelings for someone else. Before long, winter retreat and our second spring came to its place. A full year had passed since we had resumed living together. I don't think it was my imagination that this year felt much warmer than last. Spring seemed to have arrived a bit earlier than in previous years. One night, when the breeze carried on it a pleasant residual warmth, Giselle escorted me out to the garden. Come on, Master, hurry up. It's the middle of the night. It's so important. I just found it myself, and I couldn't wait until morning. A rose. It blossomed. Giselle had, over the past year, cleaned up the nest of weeds that had been strangling the garden. Off to the side, a small plot of turned soil, swaying in the wind beneath the moonlight, was a single red rose. When did you... Last year I requested flower seeds. I just couldn't get them to grow. I was starting to think they never would. But look, it's only one, but it did. I had no idea. Of course you didn't. I didn't tell you. Why would you keep it from me? I wanted to make it a gift for you, Master. What? Why? Roses make wonderful gifts, supposedly. No, that's not what I meant. Why me? I haven't given you anything. Consider it a symbol of my hope that we'll still be this close another year from now. If we are, then this is yours. I don't follow her reason. I don't follow at all, but the sight of the deep red rose almost melting into the dark night was perhaps the most wondrous thing I'd ever seen in my life. I never understood why some people found flowers so enchanting. They were always just plants to me. But that one on that night was undeniably beautiful, majestic. And like a young child seeing a flower for the very first time, my hand automatically reached out for it. Not only the proper way to appreciate flowers, I didn't gently caress its petal or take in its fragrance, but snapped its stem. Oh, you picked it? Are you going to bring it back to your room? When I finally processed her question, that was when I realized I probably should have left it to grow in the garden. From the base of the stem, where I had plucked it, a droplet succumbed to gravity and fell to the earth. With it came the delayed realization that I had ended the plant's life. It was overpowered by childish possessiveness. This stunning flower was mine. Moonlight trickled down from the heavens, giving a gentle bluish tint to my hands and the smile on her face. You're going to need a vase then. Give me just a minute. For the briefest moment, the moonlight must have played a trick on my mind. Huh? Master? What on earth am I doing? A look of bewilderment filled Giselle's face. This inches from mine, which hammered in the reality of what I had just done. Thought had just crossed my mind that perhaps her black hair might prove a good backdrop for the rose, but it was supposed to remain a simple fancy. What was that about? An excuse. I need a good excuse. A drawing. A drawing? Right, I would like to preserve it on canvas. What? I mean, that a rose on its own does not make a very compelling picture, so I'd like to include you as an accessory. Wait, you want to draw me too? Merely as a background element. You're slightly more interesting than a vase, that's all. I've never seen you draw anything before. I just never got the urge. You know how? Many years ago, my brother taught me. I don't think I can handle being a model. I've never had a drawing done of me either. You would probably be better off with just the rose. You gave it to me, didn't you? That means I am free to do with it as I please. I did. I didn't mean to sound so rude. I had no interest in drawing the rose, but I couldn't just take it back either. Giselle had shrunk back quite visibly, and I couldn't bring myself to look at her in the eyes. I fled to the cellar in search of supplies to escape the oppressive awkwardness. At the far wall, I found a rectangular panel of wood and several sticks of charcoal. My materials were obviously nothing compared to what a court artist might use. This Corey not going to be able to do the portrait any kind of justice. God, what am I doing? I want to bury my head in the sand. Giselle was waiting for me in the stained glass chamber. It seemed she was just as uncomfortable as when I had left her. She gave me a fleeting glance before averting her gaze again. If only she would laugh or make it seem like usual, it would make things so much easier. Why'd she have to choose now to start acting meek? What should I be doing? Stay perfectly still, please. You need me to pose or anything? No, just get comfortable. Look away. Why? It's hard to work when you're watching me. What? I feel like I have to sneeze. Hold it in, please. What now? Can I see it? I've barely drawn anything yet. As long as our eyes didn't meet, I was able to observe her, and my gaze was quite clearly not focused on the rose, but Giselle. At first I had regretted my in-the-moment proposition. I was beginning to think it hadn't been such a bad idea. Without some sort of pretext, I would never have been able to examine her so intently. I didn't have that kind of courage. It doesn't like me. But what was like me? Did I prefer being a sharp-tongued, unapproachable recluse? Was that what I wanted to strive for? Giselle was like a gale. Her mere presence dispersed the gloomy cloud that always hovered around me. Thinking about it, it's practically a miracle that we ever ended up so comfortable around each other. Yeah, great, let's make her pose then. That she's still here right now. Light from the moon spilled through the stained glass window, taking on a multitude of pale tones before falling on her white skin and jade eyes. I'd stopped sketching at some point. What in the world was going on? One of my roses had finally bloomed, which I thought would put a smile on Michael's face. Rather than improve his mood, it made him go all strange. He would say he wanted to draw something. I'd never seen Michael draw anything before. Sit still. I tried to sneak peeks at him every once in a while, but any time our eyes met, he gave me a stern look that way stare. I ended up spending a whole lot of time looking at the archangel in the stained glass window. What could he be thinking? Could this be thanks for the rose? Sure, he's not the type who would consider drawing an expression of gratitude, though. If I'm wrong about that. It'll turn my whole world upside down. Maybe he wanted to draw me. No, not possible. That would turn the world upside down even faster. Couldn't. We're close, to be sure, but we're not that kind of close. It makes it sound like Michael's attracted to me. back to high school people? And there's no way. There's absolutely no way. He compares me to an obese rat and calls me an amateur at chess, laughing while he crushes me. That's not what this is it? How old are these people supposed to be? Because we had like 14 and 16-year-olds scalping each other and mounting one another while they're choking each other out at nighttime. We're going very PG-13 here. Huh? Oh yes? If it's too much trouble, you're free to leave. This will take a very long time to complete. Oh no, no trouble. You had a very stern look on your face is all. Is doing that bad of a job at hiding it? I don't want to force you to do anything you don't want. It was foolish of me to ask of you. I'm sorry. Honestly, it's no trouble, I mean it. You just took me by surprise, that's all. Yeah, because he's been there for a decade. I don't know when he was sent out of the mom's house, or, you know, his parents' house. Oh shit, I can't. Chris. Wasn't even that grave an artist to begin with. That's not a talent I was blessed with. And if I'm being honest with myself, I can't imagine anyone would be pleased to have bad art drawn of them. What? Why is he getting so negative about? I wasn't the only one making a face. His head was turned slightly downward, a forlorn shimmer in his eyes. I'd never seen him make that face before. He resembled a child who had just been scorned by his mother. I wasn't all anger or displeased with him. I was just fine, honestly. I had to get that through to him. I am pleased. Doesn't matter how it turns out, you drew it for me. Whether it's good or bad is irrelevant. The moonlight shining through the stained glass was so enchanting. I lost myself in it. I would be happy with anything drawn for me by the man I love. What else is it? For an instant, time froze. By the time I realized what I had said, my mind had gone blank and I couldn't form a coherent thought. I mean, like, you know, like family. You're like an older brother to me. I meant love, like love for a brother. That's it, you're getting drawn like one of my French whores. Hey, say something, master. Give me your usual exasperated sigh. Come on now. Go on, give me your best, good grief, and then hurl me out the window. Show me some disappointment.
Wait, I beg of you!
Master? When the wood panel he was using as a canvas and the charcoal in his hand crashed to the hard chapel floor, the clatter was so loud I jumped. I didn't have the presence of mind to wonder why he knocked over the canvas, or why his hands appeared to be shaking. Let me help you with that. I stepped towards him, and when I did, the moonlight shining down upon us intensified, and our gazes of Jade and Ruby intertwined. Yeah, Jade eyes. What are we looking at? Go. There was a visible rosiness in his ethereal pale cheeks. Master? What? I was looking at the eyes! Oh shit, I hit X? Flickers of panic darted beneath the surface of his normally stony red eyes. They were trembling as he looked over at me. Was at a loss for words. What? I didn't do anything bad. The game keeps getting rid of the text. I don't know why. We must have been under the moon's spell. We weren't thinking. We stood alone in a frozen world, robbed of all rational thought. Right in the moonlight's current, his hand fell against my cheek. It was much colder than I had expected, but it felt pleasant on my flushed skin. The rose isn't in her hair anymore. No one else noticed that. See? It's not even anywhere in the picture. That's what I keep looking for. It could have fallen. As we drew closer, I could feel the warmth emanating from his body, and I'm sure he could feel mine. The beating of my heart, too. His breathing stopped for a moment, then he gulped. He brought his head in. I closed my eyes and... Please don't sneeze it. Oh. Then I shoved him away with all my strength. Exactly what I'm looking at. I'm a man of sheer will and focus and determination. I've made my decision. This is where we're looking now. Michael rolled back, knocked his head on the side of a pew, and began groaning in pain, which is when I finally realized what I had done. What have you done, Giselle? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Are you hurt? I'm fine. You startled me. I really truly didn't mean to knock you down. You should go back to your room. I'm sorry for all the trouble I've caused you tonight. What? Get some rest. Good night. He turned away, marching off into the corridor enshrouded in darkness. There was a heavy air of loneliness hanging around him, over him, which gave rise to the phantom images of him actually disappearing into the darkness. I had caused that, but I hadn't realized until it was too late. It felt like someone was sitting on my chest. Why would I ever do that to him? Of course, I'm going to hurt him reacting like that. Maybe I was hoping he would say it was just one of his jokes. Do I want it to be a joke? I had that option. I could pretend nothing ever happened. Tomorrow go back to the way things were before. But if I did that, there would almost certainly never be a second chance. Go on, Vampire Killer. We're like 25 hours into a visual novel. And they are currently having that little cutesy romance stage. And he was drawing her. Went in for a move and bing bang boom pushed her back because his father raped her. So she's a little shell-shocked, you know? You were okay with it. You wanted it, Giselle. Quit lying to yourself. You're the one who said you loved him. And that was no mistake. It's not a very happy story so far. You wouldn't sit shoulder to shoulder and read a book with somebody you didn't care for. You wouldn't enjoy eating supper with somebody you didn't like. You wouldn't be able to live happily with someone you didn't love. You have to go after him, find him, and tell him the truth. I was laughing at what the painting's gonna look like. I really hope he drew it the way I would have. What am I doing, for God's sake? I'm not in my right mind. Something about me was off today. I couldn't control myself. I was saying things I didn't mean, doing things I didn't intend to. I'd never meant to do them. At this point, I had no choice but to admit my feelings. I couldn't pretend I didn't know what they were anymore. How long had I felt this way? A week, a month, 6 months, or maybe a full year? Had they already developed when we started anew? No, the when didn't matter. It didn't change the facts. I was still attracted to her, regardless of when it had begun. But she pushed me away, quite literally. I sighed at myself. Why should I be disappointed? She was nothing like me.
Thank you.
Thanks for the host. I was a recluse and unsociable. She was the exact opposite. Just the kind of person who would confidently tell someone how she felt. And she had done exactly that, said I was like a brother. I hadn't listened. As a matter of fact, could I have been any more presumptuous? I don't deserve to love anyone. Better this way. Master. My eyes were up here. I told you to go back to your room. I need you to listen to me, okay? What? About what just happened. That doesn't count. You can't count any of that. Huh? I said I loved you, and then I shoved you. They don't count. Alright, I was planning to forget that anyway. So don't worry. Well, it's not what I mean. What I'm saying is, it's not something I should have said on a whim just because the moonlight was kind of pretty tonight. It wasn't supposed to be so casual. The way I said it doesn't get across at all how much I really care about you. It should have been something with more impact, rather. Me looking straight into your eyes, my heart jumping around like it's on fire. That's how I should have said it. What are you... I'm saying I want you to give me one more chance to do it right. Giselle. Hold on. I just don't want to lose my one ending part, you know? Calm yourself. I am calm. In no sense of the word are you calm. Fine that I'm not calm, but I am clear-headed. I mean every last word. Listen very carefully. I love you. I love you so much I feel like my heart is going to explode. What? Huh? You mean like family? Like a brother, right? Romantic love. Romantic. What? I wasn't upset back there. No, I was elated. My mind couldn't keep up with what I was hearing. Half out of breath where she stood, Giselle was frantically insisting that she loved me. Am I dreaming? Master? I'd like to hear how you feel about me. Assuming I interpreted that correctly, you were going in for a kiss back there, right? Right? So I can take that as your answer? Giselle looked up at me with bleary eyes. She had feelings for me. It was a miracle. I could hardly breathe. It felt like someone had stuck their hand in my chest and was squeezing my heart. I just had to say yes, and a smile had spread across her face. I could bring her joy, and it would take was a single word. I had no reason to say no. My happiness was standing right there in front of me. What more could I ask for? All I had to do was reach out and claim it for myself. I had tried to do exactly that in the chapel, and I could do it again. I loved her. I was a twisted man cast out of the world and left with nothing. I had no way to make her happy, but still, Don't tell me you've forgotten what you are. Tell me. There is no moonlight to give me that nudge. Do not feel that way about you. What? I got confused for a moment. I apologize for the misunderstanding that seems to have caused. All the color drained from her like a flower wilting before my eyes. A heavy sigh spilled from her lips. Her jade eyes swayed lifelessly back and forth. We can't have anything nice in this story, you know that. I hadn't thought mere love could possibly have such weight, but she looked as though I had just told her she was to be executed. I see. Sorry. Now would it get to my head? Sorry for making such a racket. Oh God, what was I thinking? I got way ahead of myself there. Her faux energy hurt to watch. I had hurt her, and this was the result. You wanted to protect yourself, even if it meant hurting her. But look at where it got you. You would have been better off just going with it. Because when she learned the truth, she would have pushed you away anyway. Sorry, I'll be going now. Sorry for barging in on you like that. She made her way into the shadows, towards the door. There, you did it. You preserved your peace. I got the feeling she would never again turn back. Your mistake was ever getting close to anyone. What I had always wanted was right there in front of me, and I was so close to obtaining it. You pushed her away. I actually did love her. She would never love the real you. No, she couldn't. You're disgusting. I can't believe you actually had the gall to fall for me. Good night, Master. Leaving. I wanted her here, and she was leaving. I had to acknowledge my feelings, and she would come back. Was I really content to let her go? In my weakness, I mistreated her. I hurt her. I let her go, and I was about to lose her, even though she said she loved me. And I felt the same way. Wait, please don't go. Please don't ask her to clean something before she leaves. Your voice is shaking like a scared child's. What are you hoping to tell her like that? It was different. She absolutely was nothing like anyone in my past. She won't be any different. I decided I would try just one more time. To believe in myself and to believe in someone else. I lied. Giselle, from the bottom of my heart, I regret this. No, I won't. I sincerely love you. The fragrance of rose enveloped me. Her arms wrapped around my chest were both imbued with strength and shaking like mad, as though the slightest touch might shatter them. Oh God, you're an ugly crier. Why didn't you just say that in the first place? She said in a quavering, sniveling voice just inches from my ear. Everyone's an ugly card, don't worry. I lack sufficient control over my mind or body to return her embrace. Run my hands through her hair to do anything more than support her weight. I'm sorry. Jerk. Bully. Brute. You don't get to play this one off as a joke. I am truly, sincerely sorry. You've given me two different stories. Tell me, which one is true? Were you just confused, or do you actually love me? I want to hear you say it again. The truth is, I love you. Again! Without fumbling this time. I love you, as I've said several times now. Not good enough. Again! Have mercy, please. I'm about to die of humiliation. Can I really believe you this time? You're not going to say you were lying again. No, I won't. Then we both feel the same way about each other? Shockingly enough. What's there to be shocked about? I didn't think there was anything likable about me. You really do have to do something about that pessimism. I'll try. I'm in heaven. I'm so happy I could cry. You are, all over me. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness. When you first said no, everything went black. I wasn't sure what I would do anymore. I had lost all hope. I really do feel bad about that. You had to change your heart. Now you're willing to have me. Yes. And everything I bring with me. That was the idea. Absolutely everything, right? You're pushing that point rather hard. I have a request. It's something I don't think I could ask you at any time but now, while we're in the moment. I'll do anything so long as it's within my ability. Tell me, what is it? Will you look at my naked body? What? More specifically, my scars. You are going to have to see them eventually.
Wait, I beg of you.
In which case, I would like that to be now. A year ago, I had refused to look at her scars. I had been certain I wouldn't be able to accept what they represented. The abuse my father had subjected her to. If possible, I would have preferred never having to face that. But I, more than anyone, needed to know. It was my responsibility. I had to accept reality, not grimace or avert my eyes. I had to face up to what had been done to her. Okay. I couldn't bring myself to look at her as she hesitantly disrobed. The sound of her clothes rustling made me feel as though I was doing something incredibly improper. As much as I tried to feign calm, I was so tense my joints were practically creaky, and my heart felt like it was being stepped on. Alright, I think I'm gonna go grab something to drink. You guys can wait a moment. No, I'm just kidding. We'll keep going. I feel like I'm made of stone. Wait, what? I'm ready. You can turn around. Alright, I don't know if there is nudity in this game, but just, you know, I'll count to 10. He's laughing at me. I feel a whole lot better seeing you so nervous. I'm turning around. You know, this sucks. Like, if someone was really drawing this out as much as possible, they actually would probably go grab something to drink right now. Oh, no, I actually went and grabbed some more tea. We're gonna see some tits, we're gonna see some tits. Let's go! Okay. Her head was tilted down just enough to keep me from making out her expression, but she couldn't hide the pink flush running across her cheeks. It contrasted well against her white, but not excessively pale skin, as did her jet black hair. Sorry, it's not anything nicer to look at. You're fine. You passed the test. In what way was this not a pleasant sight? I'd never been more entranced by anything in my entire life. She was stunning. I had no measure of comparison, but I was certain the same sight of any other woman in the world would have had the same effect on me. Would not have had that. I could say as much with confidence despite having never seen another woman nude. Hypnotized, I couldn't take my eyes off her gentle curves of her body. Were I more socially inclined, perhaps I would have told her she was pretty, which perhaps would have brought a sheepish smile to her face. I thought I wanted to. My throat was dry as dust, and all I could manage to produce was incoherent rasps. Please say something? I'm hideous, aren't I? I'm unclean. You're not hideous. You mean it? I mean it. Why would you think so? Because you are not unclean, not in the slightest. I do. Even seeing this? Giselle's eyes slid downward, a trace of fear lurking just beneath the surface. Following her lead, I dropped my gaze to her lower body, and there I saw her scars. Swollen, red and black gashes, still not healed after more than a year, defiled her white flesh. As she described for me, the lines were arranged to the form letters carved in her skin. Ah, so that's why she said I would have to see them eventually. Instincts told me these were wounds she would carry for the rest of her life. I felt nauseous, heartbroken, infuriated at the fact that the person who had done this to her was out of my reach. The fact that I could do nothing for her. What went through my father's mind when he looked at these? What did he gain from giving her these wounds? Why did he have to do this to her? Why my father of all people? Giselle was the one with the scars. Giselle was the one in pain. But I felt like someone had shoved a handful of needles into my chest. Dozens of thick metal stakes piercing the walls of my heart, blood streaming through me like a river. If I didn't force myself to face it, I was liable to run. What was the right thing to say? What was I supposed to tell her? As hard as I thought, I couldn't come up with an answer. All I came up was intense frustration. It killed me that I couldn't take these scars from her. That I couldn't give my father a piece of my mind. You're in no way hideous, no matter what marks are left on your body. It took all I had to form that single sentence. So glad to hear that. I was down at that village. They said it didn't matter what they did to me because I was already dirty. That made me think I had reached the point where I was so tainted. Anyone could see it. Oh, sorry. Why should you apologize? You were frowning really intensely. I thought I might have made you mad. Well, I'm not angry at you. I'm angry at my father, the villagers, and myself. May I touch them? You may. My hands were trembling, but I knew I wouldn't be doing her any favors by hesitating. As soon as my fingertips brushed her skin, she shuddered. Ah, does it hurt? No, there hasn't been pain in some time. I could feel her trembling where I touched her. It didn't seem like she was going to subside anytime soon. Oh, did you get 666? Nah. Soon she began whimpering softly. Her lips moved as though she was trying to say something, but the best she managed was a few strained gasps. It had begun welling up in her eyes as well. I feel like I'm in heaven right now, but I also kind of hate myself. Hate yourself, but why? I can't stop shaking. I'm overjoyed to feel your touch, but I can't control my body. I know you're nothing like that, but I keep seeing flashes of you doing other things in my mind. It kills me that my body won't react the way I feel in my heart. I was foolish to ever have thought that these wounds might have healed. Just as scars remain on her body, so too did they remain in her heart. Unlike the physical wounds, though, the ones inside her seemed to still be raw and bleeding. She just did such a good job at acting normal that I had begun to think she might have gotten past them. Of course not, you blind fool. You shoved me back there because it brought back those memories. That's right. I'm sorry. I'm really, truly sorry. Why are you apologizing? I should be the one. Do you have any desire to place a curse on him? What? You want to curse Antonin. If you so desire, I might be able to make it happen. As to curse him, perhaps even a fatal one. Ignore the fact that he's my father. I don't consider that man family anymore. I want you to be honest with me. If hypothetically such a thing were possible, would you want to curse him? I got you. No, I would not want that. Why not? You have every right to take revenge. What that man did, he deserves punishment. He inflicted so much pain on you. You're still shaking more than a year later. You can just let him get away with it out of the goodness of your heart? Hypothetically, if you wanted to curse him, I wouldn't do it even hypothetically. And not out of the goodness of my heart. Just a coward. Coward? If curses were real, and he were to die by one, then I would never ever be able to forget. My resentment for him took his life. That would mean he had damaged me so permanently I was never able to get past it. I don't want that. I want to be able to forget. I'm still shaking now, but one day I want to be able to proclaim proudly that that no longer has any control over me. But I appreciate the sentiment. Setting aside your choice of method, you asked out of concern, and that's more than enough for me. What's going on, Doc? A soft smile spread across her lips, but it all inspired me was powerless. She was putting on an act. Was the sentiment really more than enough? Of course not. I was still trembling so much. What was I to do? What was I unable to leave this house and helpless against the will of the Bollingers to do? I was incapable of assuaging her pain, wasn't I? I couldn't do anything, could I? Before I throw in the towel, I need to take some real time to think, to stop running from the problem, figure out a real way to give her what she wants. It doesn't involve curses or angry words. It has to be something only I can do. Giselle took the hand that had been tracing her scars and slid it around her waist. Even now, her trembling showed no signs of abating. One thing I could do, hurt you again, was to wrap her trembling body in my arms. I want you here with me.
Thank you.
Thank you for the host. All I ask for you now is to be at my side. You can be scared, and you can quiver, but please don't apologize for that. Please don't feel bad about it. I promise not to turn my head away from your pain. If I ask of you, try not to keep it buried. I have no power or influence. I don't know all the right things to say. I am a man with nothing to his name. But the one thing I do have is a heartfelt desire to do whatever I can for you. As soon as I tighten my grip around her waist, she lurched forward, throwing her arms around. Muffled whimpers resonated against my shoulder, where she had buried her head. Eventually, they grew into unfettered sobs. My bedchamber was enveloped in the sound of weeping. I cried like a little child. Usually strong-willed, cheerful, optimistic Giselle wailed from the depths of her soul. This past year, she had constantly been nudging me forward. It was always her leading the way. There had undoubtedly been moments where she had wanted to cry like this, but couldn't. But starting now, I was going to try and support her too. I was sure I would mess something up, as I had little experience being caring. I'd probably anger her, probably stress her out, and probably make her cry. But I found my resolve. I had overcome my hesitation. I was sure I could do it. I could create a place where she could find peace. I could surely. Giselle didn't stop crying until the sun had begun peeking over the horizon. I had, as I said, not looked away, simply holding her in silence. She had a decidedly not childlike frame, but she seemed incredibly small in my arms. We felt each other's warmth through my clothes. Between sniffles, Giselle said softly, "One day I'm certain I'll be able to, without any hesitation, be properly joined with you, and it will be wonderful. Right now I still can't control the shaking, but eventually I want to be able to put my hands on you too." The affection infused in each and every word was palpable. Sometime later she drifted off to sleep, exhausted. I prayed from the bottom of my heart that at least tonight she would have pleasant dreams. Aww. That's kind of... Considering we had a giant-breasted, half-naked woman on the screen, it was a very touching moment. Alright. Morning, no. Afternoon? Master! Good morning. Good morning. Oh, come on, put a little more oomph into it. Same Giselle as always. I must say, last night was something, Master. I didn't know you had that in you. Just thinking about it. Hey, that hurt. What was that for? I was struck with the insatiable urge to whack you. What happened to your heartfelt desire to do whatever you can for me? I don't think hitting me counts. You're tough enough to get over a little bonk. You were being so nice yesterday. Where did that go? Oh. So, would you like to explain why you're making dirty jokes first thing in the morning? Yeah, just trying to lighten the mood to hide my embarrassment. Fair enough. Alright, but could you not joke about that in the future? I didn't actually do anything to you. No, you didn't. Sorry. So, could I ask you something? Yes. You hardly ever use my name. Makes us feel so distant. You do something about that, maybe? Babe? No. That is not you at all. Just go with my name, please. We've graduated from a master-servant relationship to a romantic relationship, but that is a bit much. Romantic relationship. Exactly, so in honor of the new us, let's make this last, alright, Michael? Yeah, alright. At the time, the light that had entered our life seemed unreal and fantastical. But I prayed that it would indeed last. In hope of an equally bright future, I allowed myself to rejoice in the moment, letting the unconquered shadows that lurked in my peripheral remain unseen. This is a bright future, the chapter. We're getting really close, though. I don't... Like, I'm sorry I keep doing this, and I hope it doesn't break up the whole feeling. Blackness consumes the once colorful space. Giselle still stands before me, as she did within the door, but I struggle to reconcile the two scenes. They are both real. They are both her. The lively, spunky girl of the past and the lifeless girl of the present are both Giselle. As different as they seem, they are both her. Why don't we stop there? It was a wonderful story. They overcame their troubles and lived happily ever after. Is that not good enough? It could not be worse than where we are now. All we have to do then is erase the now. Throw everything away and start over from where it was better. You were able to bear them because they weren't your tragedy. And that goes for more than just me. Actually, as a matter of fact, those words apply even better to her than me. The ending is already set in stone. It already happened. What point is there in watching it again? All that accomplishes is making me relive it all. The ending has not been written. We're both here now, which means our end still lies ahead of us. Then, can I ask you to promise not to let go of my hand no matter what?
I've made a huge mistake.
It's true. A lot of mistakes.
29万つ
Thanks for the resub, Balmung. No matter what happens, you mustn't let go of my hand. Now I understand. That was a request, even if she didn't perceive it as such. In place of a verbal response, I squeezed her hand in mine. I know where this tale is heading. Towards tragedy. All the other doors we visit end in tragedy, and ours is no exception. What's waiting at the end of this one is even more dire than I imagined. The door to our past swings open once more, behind which lies the end of me. Because we got to see an ending coming up, and we're good again? And the beginning of her. A month had passed since the night with the rose. Right on schedule, the monthly delivery arrived, but in it was a letter that would dramatically change our lives. My father, Antonin, had fallen ill and died. I presumed it was the witch's doing, but she was silent, refusing to respond to my questions. And if it wasn't her, then he must have died naturally. It seemed more than a little tasteless to celebrate someone's death, but good taste and reality do not always agree. I was extremely relieved to hear the news. The man had raped Giselle. He had tried to have me killed, and now he was gone from this world. I've been waiting for this moment for years. His passing had another effect as well. My death could be revoked. Many years ago, my brother had told me when he succeeded our father, he would welcome me back into the Bollinger estate, and I could be part of the family once more, which meant this letter signaled the end of my banishment. Not sure how to feel about it? Yeah, rejoicing doesn't really seem appropriate. Well, this means you can return home now, right? In theory, my brother is set to take care of is set to take control of the estate, so he should be accommodating. I'm going to write a letter. Have them send us a carriage. It is much too long a distance to walk. Alright. I'm excited. What should we do first when you get back to the capital? Oh, I know. How about you stop by my place? My mom and sister won't believe their eyes. Well, we already know everything's gonna go horrible. Hold on. I want to see where the hell my... Okay. Caught up then, right? My time in this mansion was almost at its end. The future I had only vaguely envisioned was now within my reach. I have always spoken of this moment predicted with eventually, like it was some kind of unattainable fantasy. And now that it was practically a reality, I realized I hadn't actually given it much thought. Yeah, I don't think it would be any better. Hey, are you still awake? Because I don't think they said the mom was dead. I am. Not a great night for sleeping, huh? Are you thinking about your family? It all seems so surreal. Yeah, it does. The house is like a desert island, cut off from the world, which makes everything feel kind of like a fairy tale sometimes. Even what we have. From time to time, I get the feeling that nothing is real, that the outside world is just a figment of my imagination. My entire life only ever existed within these walls. Are you nervous? Maybe I am. I've always thought that when this day arrived, it would be more cathartic. I'm sorry. I'm finally able to take you back to the capital, and I can't seem to get past my own negativity. It's only natural to be nervous. I am too. I haven't spent nearly as long as you have living in the mansion. But I know how you feel because I feel the same way. Not knowing what the future holds, it's scary. You know, I was thinking, I would be okay with staying. I mean, I would love to return to the capital. I miss my family dearly. But even if I never get to see them again, in no way would I consider myself unhappy. I honestly think I've got a pretty wonderful life. If you're not comfortable going back to that house, and you're just saying you'll endure it for me, Giselle, there are other paths we can take. You could live with your family. Or you could remain here in the mansion. No, not at all. No, I want to. No matter where I go, you'll be with me. It's true. I am nervous not knowing what the future holds. Not in a scared something bad might happen kind of way. More of a jittery, excited anxiousness. Confident the two of us can overcome anything, no matter what obstacles may come in our way. Together, we can even create a more wonderful future. Don't worry, Michael. The future's nothing to be afraid of. You make it sound like I'm paralyzed with fear. But you are, aren't you? Hey now, don't give me that look. Once again, she's the one pushing me forward. I will make sure you have a good, happy life. Thank you. What? Nothing. I'm feeling kind of sentimental, thinking about how we've only got a little time left here. It wasn't perfect, but it was an important part of my life. Indeed. Same. Yes? Well, I think I could handle it right now, probably. It? Well, use your head, you little... I don't follow. You'd be so dense. I mean, you know, touching and so forth. You know, the next step. I'm saying I'm feeling up for that right now. I don't have a headache, Michael. Giselle, I don't understand. It's not proper for a woman to bring up that subject, is it? But I did kind of ask you to wait. I feel bad leading you on for so long. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're shaking. I'm just really emotional, that's all. You don't need to force yourself if you're not ready. I can wait as long as you need. Besides, never mind. It's fine, there's no need to rush things. You don't need to worry. Yeah. I wrote 2 letters, one to my brother and one to my mother. One so Giselle could return, and the one so I could be myself. Demonstrate who I was, and to prove that I was not cursed. For failing to do that would not only bring her grief, it might become the final crack in the identity I had built up for myself. I had to convince her that I was neither demon nor angel, but a human man who had fallen in love with a human woman. However, I was too foolish to realize that the future I envisioned was nothing but a fantasy. Had I been able to grasp that, then maybe I could have taken her somewhere far away, where no one knew where we were, who we were, where things might have turned out differently. Well, this isn't a very good chapter name. This chapter just changed to When the Axe Falls. I assume we're not going to be clapping cheeks. What you kids say, right? Is that hand holding? It's been really foggy out lately. I'd rather if we left when it was clear. It would be terrible if the coachman rolled the carriage because he couldn't see where we were going. If there wasn't so much fog, I would probably have been able to see little columns of orange evening sunlight fighting their way through. But The milky white mist seemed to swallow up all the light, leaving nothing for the surrounding area. It was rather dreary weather. Where will they be when they'll be here? Although, if they never do show up, that's okay too. I was finally able to return to the capital of Michael, to see my family again. And that was wonderful. It was like a dream come true. But it wouldn't disappoint me if that didn't end up happening. I didn't care where I ended up, as long as Michael was there with me. All that matters. I should probably close the window. Coach isn't likely to show up at night, I don't think. Hold on. Oh, I think I have a ton of time before my next choice. Because it gives me like, no, don't lock. It gives me title, name things, whatever they're called. I've been calling them chapters. Which is when I saw something wavering beyond the heavy mist. Light? And it wasn't just the one. Looking closer revealed several more flickering spots. They moved up and down slowly but rhythmically. As more and more came into view, my mind began to see them as people carrying torches. They're coming this way? Maybe our escorts back to the capital? Though, what? As soon as the thought, there sure are a lot, popped into my head, something whizzed past my cheek. What? What was... Huh? Why, what? It was an arrow. Giselle! The arrow had flown through the window and pierced the opposite wall. Had Michael not knocked me out of the way? Giselle, are you okay? I'm fine. But what's going on? Never mind that. Right now we need to run. Huh? Wait, Michael! Now, there's no time to talk. See out of sight of the windows. Got it. He grabbed my hand and broke into a run. A relentless storm of arrows showered through the windows we had worked so hard to open up a year ago. This wasn't what we had gone through all that effort for. Once I opened the front door, run! We have to get as far away from this house as quickly as possible. What was happening? Why did we have to run? Why were those people firing arrows at us? With a wave of questions came a wave of fear. I couldn't say anything. The sheer terror had frozen my jaw in place. Get ready. I nodded, squeezing his hand tight. I knew it would just be another obstacle for his safe escape. I didn't want to let go of his hand. I was afraid that if I did, I would never be able to hold it again. Oh. Are you alright? I'm fine. But how? There are people out front too. Damn it, why? Several arrows were sticking out of the floor before us. Beyond the door, which Michael had managed to shut almost immediately, rang a cacophony of whoosh, thump, whoosh, thump. We can't escape? Why? What's going on? Damn it. With the deep scowl, Michael barred the door, and all the while the arrows kept flying. The panic in the air kept growing thicker. I don't understand. How did they... Only a handful of people even know about this place. This is all my fault. It's because I told the villagers about this place. They think a demon lives here, not a human. So they're here to tear down the house. They made weapons, bows, just for this. There was a deep rumble and the ground below us shook. I almost fell to the floor. They're trying to break down the door, it seems. Michael, I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. Because of what I did. No. What? It's not your fault, it's mine. Michael? I challenged her, and because I did, he made my curse real. What are you talking about, Michael? This way, run. Michael dragged me through the mansion's corridors until we reached the chamber with the stained glass window. At the far end of the room sat a small door. Where does it lead? I'd been aware of the door's presence, but I had never gone inside it. Something about it seemed somewhat different than the rest of the house. I wasn't sure how to describe it exactly, but it felt like shadows had taken root here. The observation tower. A tower, but if we go up there, we're putting ourselves in a corner. It doesn't matter where we go, they have us trapped. But there's a chance that up here... He didn't finish that thought, however. He opened the door, leading me into the tower, his face deathly pale. We started running again, around and around the spiral staircase, making our way towards the top. In regular intervals along the wall were rectangular windows. A layer of fog still lay thick across the lane. Peering out into it made me feel like we were being thrown into a dream world. Torn for the orange spots of torchlight surrounding the mansion. The silhouettes holding the torches. Was that armor? Appeared to be knights. Michael, tell me, why do you think this is your fault? What is your curse? Your curse. It isn't just the color of your hair and eyes, is it? There's more to it, isn't there? There's something else, isn't there? Michael's gaze was firmly directed forward as he frantically led me up the stairs. We were breathing hard and the sound of it echoed against the tower's stone walls. Our panicked hearts were beating so hard, I was afraid they might be able to hear it outside. Eventually, we made it to the top. A pile of discarded rope lay unceremoniously at the foot of the door, usually once used to seal it shut. The door itself was deeply weathered and rotting in places. It had obviously been left sitting in disrepair, even longer than Michael had lived here. What is this? Inside! Frigid air nipped at my skin, and it wasn't a pleasant, refreshing kind of cold, but a bitter, oppressive cold. This room felt unlike any other in the mansion. This is an observation tower. You can't even... There once would have been windows allowing you to see in all directions around the mansion. All that remained now was that tiny opening near the ceiling. If we hide out here, then there's a chance they might not find us. Sounds like he broke down the door. Don't worry, they won't find us. When they give up their search, then we can get out of here. Sure, it'll turn out alright. Michael's voice was quivering, as was his hand in mine. Well, we huddled together, feeling each other's warmth in our arms. My free hand clenched his shirt for dear life. Sorry. What? I'm to blame for this. It's my fault you're in this mess. The pain you had to experience, you being sent to this place, and what's happening now can all be traced back to me being born. So sorry. He apologized. Why did he insist that it was his fault? Why wouldn't he tell me what his curse was? Why are people trying to kill us? Right. Those people were trying to kill us. Put it into words like that made the fear that much more real. The arrows they fired weren't threats. They meant to kill us. Michael. With Michael trembling in my arms, I couldn't bring myself to ask those questions. What meaning would those answers even have with death lurking so close behind us? All I could do was pray. Pray that he was right, that they wouldn't find us, and we would be able to escape. However, over here there's a door and stairs leading up. My hopes were shattered by the sound of voices from below. I could hear a faint clinking of armor. Our grips on each other's tightened, and our trembling intensified. Fear swelled within the tower, making us its slaves. Giselle. We were both terrified, and who wouldn't be? Fairy tale heroes could be magically courageous in the face of overwhelming danger, but they weren't real. The fear of my impending doom, drawing nearer and nearer with each passing moment, almost drove me to madness. I couldn't think clearly. My heart was having trouble keeping up. My head was a big, white mess. We were supposed to return to the capital, start a new life, finally obtain our happiness. It was right there at our fingertips. Enough happiness to make up for Michael's 10 years of isolation. And enough to erase that nightmare from my memory forever. What had we done to have that taken away from us? We just loved each other and wanted a quiet life together. Nothing outrageous. I don't want to die. But what scared me the most was being separated from Michael. Hey, Michael, what are those people really doing here? If what they're after is money or valuables, we can offer them everything in the mansion. We don't need any of it. If they don't want us to return to the capital, we can tell them we'll stay here. They might be willing to talk it over. I don't care if I lose everything else. As long as I have you, I can survive anywhere. All that mattered was that we had our lives. As long as the two of us still breathed. But death! Death to the unholy one. Death to the heretic. To the witch. Despair hung over us like the fog outside. There were no heretics, no witches, no unholy ones here. They'd probably never listen to us. The moment we stepped outside of this room, we would be dead, no matter what we said. Michael? I'm alright. It's okay, Michael. I'm not scared. You're here with me after all. I'm fine. It's all fine. But please, hold me until it's all over. Please stay with me. Finally, you speak. Michael? He wasn't looking at me, though. His unfocused eyes were directed upward, not towards any particular point, but wandering aimlessly. Purplish lips appeared to be moved, as though he was speaking. No sound came out. Michael, are you alright? Come back to me, Michael. I grabbed him by the shoulders and shook. But even he didn't seem to notice. No matter how many times I called to him, he didn't look down from the emptiness above. Michael. Giselle. Finally, after far too long, his gaze slid down to meet mine. He looked defeated, exhausted, and cornered all at once. I was scared too, but his fear seemed to have consumed him entirely. Please hear me out, Giselle. I never thought anything good would become of my life. I never thought I would find anyone who truly understood me, who would be happy to have my love. And for that, I hated the world. I was in constant torment, living in the shadows, but then a single ray of light shone down on me. Michael. You, Giselle. You delivered me from the darkness. I'm scared, Giselle. I'm terrified. I used to think my life was meaningless, that it didn't matter if I lived or died. But now, I can't stop shaking. It's perfectly normal. I'm scared of death too, but... what scares me most is losing you. Michael. I should have noticed. Noticed his arms were tensing up. Noticed and stopped him. Please, allow me to repay you. I said I would do anything for you, so let me do this. I haven't given you anything. I haven't done anything for you. So give me one final chance. What are you doing? Get back in here, Michael. What? The door. I can't open it. I shoved on the door trying to go after him. Won't budge even the slightest bit. It was as though there had never been a door there at all, merely a wall disguised as one. It wasn't someone holding it shut from the other side either. I pushed and I pulled with all my might, but I couldn't even manage to eke out the tiniest crack. What did you do to the door? Come on, get back in here. I don't want to lose you either. See something, Michael. You're out there, aren't you? So please don't do anything rash. They're going to kill you if you're out there. Zell, the witch, told me that she would ensure your safety. Michael, she isn't real. There's no witch talking to you. It's all in your head. The feminine imagination created to alleviate your loneliness. Rest assured, she does not lie. Michael, please listen. You are a wonderful woman, Giselle. Spirited, true to yourself, deeply sympathetic. You are not to blame for how difficult your life has been. Most of the fault lies with me, and a bit of bad fortune. That's all behind you now. Once this is over, you can start anew. What are you talking about? So survive. Live a good, fulfilling life. Move past this. Live your life. And always love your family. I know you can do it. That is my wish for you. No, I don't want that. I want to be with you. No one else but you. I don't want to let you die. There it is. Death to the heretic. Get back in here, Michael. Open the door. If my choice is to live on without you, I'd rather... Your scars will heal. You'll find a nice man and have a wonderful family. Why? Thank you, Giselle, for bringing light into my world. Don't say that, but if there is a next life, I hope you don't mind if I pray we're able to meet again. We can find each other once more in another world. It is our holy duty as knights of the church to deliver punishment unto the heathen who made a pact with the devil. Come on, Michael, open the door. You were sentenced to death, your body to be hanged upon the cross for 3 days and 3 nights. wherein your unholy flesh shall be purified by the fires of heaven. Why? What are you doing here? Open the door, Michael, please. Listen to me. You can hear me out there, can't you? You shall now be executed. Do you have any final words? Who is it you're sentencing to death? Michael Bollinger? Or a demon child, naturally. Or a witch, perhaps. Please open the door. Why won't you open it? He isn't unholy or impure. He's a perfectly normal human and a very sweet man. Yes, I'm the witch. The witch is in here. I'm the one you want to execute. Kill me. Execute me. Now I see, Giselle. This world... He's probably fine. So many blades pierced my flesh. A sword in my chest, lances in my arms and shoulders, arrows in both of my legs. I could hardly even tell what hurt anymore. There was an unpleasant hiss sound in the tower, almost like a heavy rain. It was the sound of my blood spilling onto the stone. And sure, it was red, just like anyone else's blood. It didn't flow in unnatural patterns, it didn't turn into black demonic shadows. It didn't cause anyone who touched it harm. It was just ordinary red blood. Regardless, this body was probably still cursed. It had to be. I couldn't hear Giselle's voice anymore. I hoped she was safe and alive. I prayed that at least she would be protected, that the witch would keep her promise. It was getting dark. Light was quickly departing from my world. Darkness everlasting dragged me down into its pits. I believed in you. Michael? Hey, say something. Talk to me. What's going on? What's going on here? Oh, this can't be happening. An possibly heavy thud came from beyond the door, and with it, Michael fell silent. Then, intermittent squelching sounds as something slid down the door. No, this can't be. Why? I pounded on the door with all my strength, but still it refused to give. The skin on my hands eventually going raw and beginning to seep blood. Why? Why should Michael have to be killed? Take me with you. Please, don't leave me behind. That man isn't a witch. He isn't cursed. I'm cursed, not him. Don't hang him. Don't humiliate him like that. Kill me instead. Again and again and again I pounded on the door. But the self-described knights on the other side seemed not to even be aware of my presence. They seemed unable to hear my cries. Their armor clanking with each step, they began to descend the staircase, and with it, I could hear the sound of something being dragged slowly across the floor. No, don't take him away. Stop, don't take Michael away from me. I'm begging you. But my pleas were in vain. My hope was for naught. The knights took him away. They took him somewhere out of my reach, for all eternity. Well, that was intense. I have no idea. I don't know what death mark is. If this helps. I don't know if that'll help you. Michael. After much too long, the door swung open all on its own. It happened so unceremoniously, it was hard to believe I had actually been trapped inside. I had no idea how much time had passed, but the chill in the air suggested it was deep into the night. And with the biting cold, there was the stench of blood. Why? Michael, I never wanted this. You didn't understand at all, Michael. You didn't know the depth of my feelings for you. You didn't know how intensely I wanted you, how fervently I loved you. Never going to be able to find someone else and live happily with them. It had to be you. The thought of anyone else touching me terrified me. You just didn't understand. I don't want to live in this stupid world. And she's been having a shitty year. The time I spent with you truly was the happiest time of my life. She didn't want it. I remember. I remember everything now. You died on that day. You were killed. You disappeared from this world and you left me. That's right. I remember. I remember the pain, the agony of death, and the fear. I did, indeed, die that day. You refused to listen to me. Do you have any idea how it felt to feel you dying from the other side of that door? I mean, in his defense, he was doing the dying. Giselle, I wanted you to take me with you. Is this what you so wanted to see? My memories, the traces of my life on this earth. And there, in order to find your truth, we need more of the story. Very well then, if you want more of the story, I will tell you more. What comes next is both a continuation and a brand new tale. The Maid's Tale. When you've heard it all, I expect you to commend me for not forgetting how to smile. We haven't completely cut through the darkness yet. An arctic wind blows past me. At the same time, I'm gripped with an overwhelming urge to break down into tears. Perhaps this is the solitude she felt for so long. I have to face this. I have a responsibility to her to do so. And I have to atone for being such a misguided fool all those many years ago, convinced that I was doing what was best. I don't want to see any more doors. I'm good with the doors now. This is my tale, and the Maid's tale. The tale of a foolish, naive girl. Looking back on it now, I'm ashamed of everything. I will tell you my story in its entirety without embellishment. I ask that you please not let go of my hand. The only things the knights left behind were a garment and a large pool of your blood. Blood had seeped into the fabric, and it was beginning to dry. When I clenched it in my hand, it made soft crackling sounds. The oppressive stench of death lingered in the tower. Michael, there's no point in life without you. You know that, right? Have a wonderful family? You know I can't do that. Hey, Michael, answer me. Come back to me. I don't care if it's as a ghost. I just need you here with me. Come back to me. Talk to me about nothing and about everything. Irritate with me when I do something stupid. Scoff at me whenever I tell a bad joke. Trounce me at chest again. Put your arms around me one more time. Come on, I'm begging you. If you won't come back to me, then I'll go to you. I don't care if that's not what you wanted for me. This world without you is meaningless. Dying won't guarantee you get to see him again. He spends all of his time refusing to talk to me. And when he finally does, he begs me to save his love. Oh, how the mighty have fallen. Rather disappointing, to be honest. Who are you? Where are you? Quite daft, aren't you? Within these walls, I am everywhere. You've heard of me before. I have no... Heavens, you are slow. Is that pretty head of yours only for decoration? What? No, there's no one else. You might be thicker than these walls, my dear. Although I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. You never did believe anything Michael said about me. You thought he was going mad. This is brilliant. No, there's no way. It can't be. The cursed witch Morgana? Oh, we heard the name. Ghost, you gotta go to bed. Time for you to go to sleep, buddy. Oh, you even know my name, do you? It would appear my legend had survived longer than I expected. I suppose I should thank all the humans who passed it down for me. You actually exist? Persona 5 where? I most certainly do, my dear. As I recall, you don't believe in the supernatural, do you? But it's hard to deny when that very witch is talking to you right this moment. Michael was not even slightly mad, my dear. I told him he was better off without his sanity, but he refused to listen. He wasn't deranged, his surroundings were. His environment, the people around him, his whole world. Can you imagine how dreadful that must have been? To be the only sane resident in a world gone utterly mad? It's a miracle he managed to keep his head. Remember what you just said before he died, my dear? You said it was all in his head. But you can't tell the difference between illusion and reality. You said he had long since gone insane. You at the top of your lungs. No, that's not what I meant. Ah, poor, poor Michael. If only you had believed about the witch. I feel bad for you too, though. You have my pity. What did you ever do to deserve this? Oh, just to be perfectly clear, I played no part in either your or Michael's misfortune. The only force to blame for that is fate. You were a good, honest, joyful, lovable woman. And look at how the world treated you. May I ask you something? Was it you who sealed me in the tower? Yes, it was. That was what Michael wanted. I told him I would grant his wish. I did as he asked. Though it looks like that ended up causing you even more pain. How tragic. So, you're planning to die? Are you hoping to reunite with him in heaven? That plan's destined to fail from the outset, my dear. God teaches that suicide is a sin, and you'll go to hell for it. Then, I will not kill you. Why not? Because I swore to Michael that I would save your life. Poor, poor Giselle. If you have any other wish, I'll be happy to grant it. I can't bear to see you so miserable. A wish? You have but a single desire right now, to see him once more. Isn't that right, Giselle? Are you saying you can make that happen? To bring him back to life for me? The forces of life and death are outside of my realm. It is God's territory, or an angel. However, I can guarantee you this. His reincarnation, no, his reconstruction. You can meet him again, not in this life, but in some future life. Just imagine it. Find your beloved again after overcoming so much tragedy. 10, 20, maybe 100 long years from now, you'll finally be reunited. Doesn't that sound marvelous? True, unparalleled love in its purest form. What do you think? Just because you can bring his soul back doesn't make it Michael. I want to be with him, that brusque, impenetrable, slightly immature, but gentle as a butterfly man. The man who sincerely, deeply loved me. If it's the same soul in a different body, can you still call him my Michael? Ah, my apologies. You beat me to the punchline. And you did so with such ardor you threw off my balance. You're exactly right. The idea that if your love is strong enough, you can both be reborn and have exactly the same relationship is utter fairy tale nonsense. Of course, we're talking to a butterfly witch right now, but that's... You must be the same people to have the same love, which is why I'm not promising his rebirth or reincarnation, but his reconstruction. Your wish can become reality, Giselle. As long as you wish for it with all your heart, it can come true. I'll wish for his reconstruction as well. You have a witch asking to make this happen, my dear. You can be confident that it will bear fruit. If you wish for him to remain as himself, if he truly loves you, and he too wishes to reunite with you, your wish shall be granted. Will you really wish with me? I most certainly will, my poor, pitiful, dear Giselle. I shall offer out my most heartfelt prayers for you. I'll wish for it. Until the moment of my death, I'll keep wishing for us to be reunited as the same people. I can't guarantee your reconstruction, though. What? I only said I guaranteed his. Michael is the only reconstruction I will wish for. I will not ask for yours. Why not? You're not looking at a benevolent, wish-granting goddess or an angel with a magical bow and arrow. You're looking at a cursed witch. And how am I to be with him again? I can offer you but one option that will allow you to reunite with your reconstructed Michael. Tell me, what do I have to do? You must live. Here, with me. Live with you? What do you mean? It was Michael who resurrected me, but he could not serve as my guide. I have work to do. But I cannot do it alone. I need a guide to assist me. Because as you see, I have no body. If this house did not exist in this world, then perhaps I might be able to give myself form. My soul's form. I don't understand anything you're saying. You don't need to understand. All I need from you is for you to show your utmost hospitality to the people I'm expecting to show up at this mansion someday. Entertain your guests? That's right, my dear. Michael isn't the only one whose reconstruction I'm wishing for. There are others. Several heinous sinners. So I want you to serve as a maid and watch over them when they arrive. Until then, keep the house in good condition. What are you scheming? Is that something you truly need to know, my dear? All you need to do is wish. Pray for the day your beloved appears before you again. For a day he wraps his arms around you once more. One word, Giselle. It's all I require. You want to see him again? Want to hear his voice again? I can promise you, you'll have your happiness back. What reason is there to hesitate? There isn't one. Or are you simply going to give up? Wonder, what would happen if you said no? If you disappear from this world? How will Michael react when he comes back? Hold on. I think it might be one of my choices. Will he be sad, angry, or will he forget about you? And fall into the arms of another woman? No, he can't. Then make up your mind. Will you come with me, or will you throw it all away? I... If I gave it a little thought, I would have realized she was manipulating me. She was just telling me what I wanted to hear. I believed her. I accepted her proposition. As unbelievable as it sounded, my desire for it to be real overpowered everything. It was impossible not to grasp at the straw she was dangling in front of me. That was all I could do at the time. Witch's voice also had an inexplicable power to it. It made me believe, as outrageous as it was, that she really could bring you back, reconstruct you. Maybe because I had seen her turn a door into an unmovable object. Or wall. Or maybe because I had heard her disembodied voice. I think those are enough to explain it. My guess is she had me under her spell. That was the moment I became the maid. But I assure you, I was, at that point, still the same Giselle you knew and loved. We got the doggo butt. The sound of the rain never seemed to stop. Am I hallucinating it, maybe? From the moment I lent my ear to the witch's sweet temptations, the mansions underwent an unimaginable transformation. No light shone through the windows, despite them all still being unobstructed, not morning, day, or evening. In fact, the concepts of morning, day, and evening did not seem to exist. This is a wordy-ass visual novel. The darkness resembled that of when the windows had all been sealed off. There was something more fundamentally unreal about it, like it was hovering over a vast, all-consuming abyss with a constant haze of malice. I felt like I had been cast into some unknown realm, and that was why there was nothing beyond the windows. And the house was not the only thing that underwent changes. I too was no exception. In the blink of an eye, all my basic human urges vanished. I stopped feeling hungry. I no longer needed sleep. Naturally, I was bewildered by what was happening to me, what I was turning into. I think I'll take a look around. Maybe there have been other changes. So I meandered through the mansion's halls. My original intent was to explore the entire house, but I found myself drawn towards one room in particular. What's shaking? Today I got Overwatch. That's right, your bedchamber. There was no light, not a trace of color remaining in your chambers. But the bed was the same shape, the walls the same texture, the curtains the same design as when you had been alive. Michael, I'm praying, I'm always praying, that someday we'll meet again. Oh, there's something hidden under the bed. What could it be? It's that painting. I never did get to ask why he got so angry about me seeing this. I'm sure it's something he didn't want to be reminded of. Perhaps having to do with his family. It was right not pressing him about it, though. What? What the? Did the painting just smirk at me? Oh god. Oh jeez, Giselle. What are you doing tripping over yourself? It was just that accursed witch messing with your head. How did you get all spooked over a tasteless prank? When I stumbled, I guess I knocked a drawer open. There's something inside. Letters, it looks like. I shouldn't touch these. They're not mine. But I want something of Michael's to have. Something to remember him by. His letters would be in his handwriting. They would contain his words. Please forgive me, Michael. I don't mean you any ill will, but I'm going to take these. I must say, there is an impressive number of... What on earth? It's like someone dumped an inkwell on every page, but why? Was this the witch's doing too? Yeah, it has to be. It must have been her. It definitely wasn't you, Michael, was it? The front door, I wonder what it's like outside. I can't get it open. Hang on. The bar isn't set, but it won't budge an inch. It's just like up in the tower. I know, the windows. They should open, then I can... What's going on here? The heck is going on? It's like there's an invisible wall in front of the window. My hand won't go any further. Oh, this is rich. What else can I do but laugh? What in the world? This is madness. Madness. Hurry up, Michael. Return to me. And get me out of here. Please, get me out of here. I had no idea how to explain anything that had happened to the mansion. It was clear enough that I was imprisoned within its walls. I was all alone in a nebulous sphere of bleak darkness, and beyond its walls lay void. The layout of the house remained unchanged, but it felt as though I had wandered into a twisted labyrinth. I could cry, but there was no one there to soothe me. All I did was provoke her disembodied cackling, which she followed with. You chose this, my dear. You need to hold yourself together and keep wishing. My only real pastime was cleaning. I dusted the same corners again and again, swept the same floors, polished the same dishes. One day I decided I would read the books left in the library. Despite there being more than 100 volumes, I finished every one of them in what felt like no time at all. My life was a never-ending cycle. Day in and day out, day in and day out. The house had no visitors. No one. Rather, nothing at all set foot upon the property. There were no signs of other life whatsoever there. No birds singing in the morning, no cats sunbathing in the garden, no mice scurrying about the kitchens, no creepy crawly insects. There was nothing. Nothing at all. The only thing that broke the long stretches of silence was her voice. Tell me, was she kind to you? Was she friendly and courteous? Because she was quite harsh when she spoke to me. These were the kinds of things she was always saying to me. He didn't show up today, did he, my dear? Are you still praying, my dear? Do you think he'll actually come, my dear? Still wishing, just like I promised, my dear. You know why he hasn't come for you, my dear. Because perhaps he doesn't actually love you as much as you thought, my dear. Have you lost your mind yet? Shut up. I've had enough. I'm done with you. Enough, please. Enough already. Oh, got you so worked up. You love to talk, don't you? Why not have a nice little chat with me? This is not a chat. Maybe not in your mind, my dear. You even think chatting only constitutes conversations you enjoy. I don't think the word's usage needs to be so restricted, personally. You're just getting off on watching me squirm. Oh, not at all. You have all my best wishes if he ever does show up for you. Oh, so scary. If you're making that face when he shows up, he might not even recognize you. It's more like the bitch, Morgana. You haven't looked in a mirror recently, have you? Come on then, my dear. How frightened you've become. No, the witch was right. I looked nightmarish. My face was pale and lifeless, my eyes hollow, my cheeks sunken, heavy bags beneath my eyes. My hair had lost its sheen, and it grew wildly. I was quickly losing everything that made me recognizable as me. And the thought sent a shiver down my spine. But no, this isn't me. What kind of trick? You're trying to deceive me. Baseless accusations. You really must stop blaming people every time something doesn't turn out the way you want, my dear. But... My face was more what? More expressive, more cheerful, brighter, rosier? You're right. You were never this gloomy, were you? Right, I wasn't. I was always more cheerful than this. Naive girl. Could you be any more narcissistic? Huh? What you're looking at is undeniably exactly what you look like now. I did not do that to you, nor did I. The negative energy oozing from within you is what's causing you to take on this form. Did you think you didn't have any dark, ugly emotions inside of you? Did you believe you would always be able to smile no matter what? You assume you were pure and beautiful. No one like that exists, my dear. What you see in this mirror is the true you, your hideous, twisted heart. If you weren't always being so nasty, this would never have happened. Anyone's heart would be twisted listening to you long enough. You're saying Michael's heart was twisted too? I spoke to him for years. No. I'm just teasing. I suppose I may have crossed the line there. I mean you no ill will, Giselle, honest. Let me give you one word of advice, though. Look at yourself in the mirror often. If you continue deteriorating at this rate and end up looking like a corpse, when Michael comes and sees you, he won't jump for joy, but run away screaming in terror. Stop talking. Please, just stop. You know, Giselle? This is only the very beginning. You might not show up for hundreds of years. I can't live that long. Absolutely brilliant. You still think you're alive? But the moment you agreed to come with me, you ceased to be of this world. Don't worry about time, my dear. You can wait as long as it takes. As long as it takes for him to arrive. As the witch had suggested, I started checking my appearance in the mirror every day. I wanted to ensure I didn't turn into some horrifying creature. My hair grew, so time seemed to be passing, but I didn't appear to age at all. The flow of time had become perplexingly vague and uncertain. Was it stopped, or was it moving? I couldn't tell. On occasion, I would practice smiling in front of the mirror. My smile was, after all, my one real distinctive feature, and I was certain you had seen me smiling more than anything. Even if my appearance had changed drastically, I thought, you would still be able to recognize me by my smile. A woman standing alone in front of a mirror practicing how to smile, I'm sure that was quite the comical sight. And that was about how my days went, for an incomprehensibly long time. For the first 100 years, I kept track of time. I kept track of how much time had passed. An hour, a day, a month, a year, 10 years, 50. But once it had surpassed a person's average lifespan, the counting started driving me mad, and so I stopped. My sense of time began to numb. In place of sleep, I spent my days in a trance-like state. Doing so, I was less aware of the passage of time. It made it a little easier to bear. To spend in this bubble of time, my mind went out to you. Okay. I grab myself some more water. I'm out of drinks. Excuse me real quick. We will continue. There we go. That's the AFK screen I want. Alright, I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Daddy.
That.
Aw, yeah. Alright, let's do this. The bots don't talk to each other. It's impossible. Alright, I got more tea, lots of honey. We're good to go. You. The next thing I lost a sense of what. Oh, well, let's just start over, okay? It'll be a long time of reading. The next thing I lost a sense of was myself. I lived as a human for 21 years, after spending nearly 10 times that trapped in the mansion. I began to feel like that was all I ever had been. That's kind of cool. So we learned they were 21. Or roughly that, you know? That maybe my past was all a construction of my imagination. That as an unworldly being, I merely fantasized about being human. That I actually had a family? Had there actually been other people in the world? Did cities and villages really exist? Was there ever really a time when light shone through the windows, when we were happy? But I knew if I started doubting everything, I wouldn't be able to maintain myself, so I settled on believing one thing, that you, Michael, were real. That you had been with me, that I had loved you, that it was you I was waiting for. I tried to always remember that one fact. This is gonna be quite a challenge going from like this game to wherever the hell the wolf one is. My characteristic energy and my cheer were disappearing. By then, I hardly ever raised my voice anymore, and in response to that change, the witch seemed to treat me a little nicer. On occasion, I thought I could sense her presence nearby. While reading the... Oh, is that one all voiced? Like she might reveal her form to me from beyond the darkness, instead of only speaking to me. I could feel her sitting beside me. I know nothing about it. Oh, okay. Well, that'll be... I usually like reading, but like this is a nice change then. A little... Because honestly, like my throat does start to hurt. I get fat-tongued. I start mispronouncing things I already do. Giselle. Do you think you're still Giselle even now? I suppose it doesn't matter either way. Sometimes I think love and fanaticism are two sides of the same coin. What are you implying? Oh, nothing. I have an idea, though. Why don't we make you some new clothes, my dear? Is it one I'm gonna die in? Am I gonna kill everybody like in Until Dawn again? The loom should still work, thanks to your keeping everything in order. That outfit's an artifact of an age long past by now. You know how long it's been? Vaguely, but yes. As we speak, time still marches onward. Not too quickly and not too slowly. Look, I saved Matt, okay, Ildan? You didn't save Matt. At the same pace as you're breathing. Now on your feet, Giselle. We have plenty of time, so let's make you the perfect maid's outfit. If we don't have enough materials, we can make more thread from the sheets or curtains. How exciting. It was my favorite character in Until Dawn. Who didn't love Matt? Was his name even Matt? I don't even remember what the hell he was. Following her instructions, I wove garments in a style that did not exist in my era. They were quite strange to behold. Old me might have been stricken with fascination by them, but at that point I wasn't even sure how to rejoice, how to be impressed, or how to be moved anymore. I actually really like the Maid design outfit here. I know, before you ball in at whatever part's coming up. Any dye in there? It sounded like rain again. I'm not doing that, Giselle. What year is it? Oh, it doesn't matter what year it is. It doesn't matter where it is. As long as you're there, it can be anytime, anywhere. Where are you, Michael? What are you doing? Still praying. Still wishing for you to appear before me. Forever and ever and ever. Praying for so long, I don't even know how long it's been. Before you left, you said you were going to pray too. You said you hoped we could meet again in another life. I'm not misremembering, am I? Well, come back to me soon. I love you so, so very much. But my memories of you are starting to fade. What did your voice sound like? What kinds of faces did you... Or did you, like, put your hands on me? I don't want to forget. I want to always remember. The memories of you are the only thing holding me together. But they're slipping away from me. How did you speak? What kinds of things did you talk about? In all these memories. Please, Michael, back to me. Before I forget everything. My beloved master. The thought crossed my mind that maybe Morgana's guarantee that you would be reconstructed was just a lie to trick me into staying here. I quickly discarded it, because if she had been lying, it would strip all meaning from my very existence. It would take away from me my purpose of being here. Sorry, I spilled some water on my sock and it's making me very unhappy. I didn't want to accept that possibility. I had no choice but to persevere in my belief that you would return. I had always thought it would be alright, that my faith would never waver. I still believed in myself. But you can be the happiest, most optimistic, resolute person in the world. You will still break eventually. I mean, it's been hundreds of years now. I was at the point where even the slightest tap would shatter me into fragments. Prelude, the first visitor. Several hundred years after I was enslaved within the mansion, something changed for the very first time. Sunlight, which I had not seen in all that time, shone in from outside. At first, I did not believe it was real. I thought it was a hallucination born of my inner desires. I thought I must have completely lost it for my fantasies to have escaped my mind. But it didn't matter if it was an illusion. The gentle breeze blowing in through the window felt wonderful. The smell of grass, the chirping of birds, the glistening blue sky. It was like 1,000 memories rushing back all at once, and it brought tears to my eyes. The time has come, Giselle. Time for you to get to work. And as she always did, the witch's voice crushed my elation, dragging me back to reality. Reveling in the sight of the outside was the last thing I should have been doing. For it was the moment that began my true decline. Work? What kind of work? Have you already forgotten? Oh, good heavens. Do you have your head on straight, my dear? As I said, I need you to watch over the house, and to show your utmost hospitality to those who show up. Is someone... This is merely an appetizer. It looks like someone's here. Hold on, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Do the same thing you have been doing. Be a maid. Convince the house guests that this is a wonderful place. Make them enjoy their stay. Now go on. I'm quite looking forward to this. The bar has been removed. But will the door open? For so long the door had refused to budge. For so long light had forsaken these halls. For so long there had been no trace of life. And now all that had been turned on its head, and all had been turned on its head. I felt like I had stepped into heaven on earth. I know it sounds melodramatic, so please don't laugh. It was almost certainly a perfectly ordinary slice of nature. Leaves and grass rustled in the wind, flowers specked the earth. And in the distance was a city I didn't recognize. I wondered where I was, of course, but I neither shouted nor jumped in surprise. Instead, I found myself accepting of my circumstance, as unnatural as they might have been. As I was standing there idly before the entrance, a carriage rolled up. Could this road be any bloody worse? It's in dire need of paving, on top of everything else. Who might you be, young lady? That outfit. He's speaking a different language. The middle-aged man approached me. From his attire and the way he held himself, he appeared to be upper class. However, the words coming out of his mouth were not in the language I had grown up speaking. Would the mansion have moved us somewhere far, far away? So we were right, it was Dracula's castle. Naturally, I had no idea how such a thing was possible. And the longer I stood there staring at him absent-mindedly, the more incredulous he became. My immediate mission was to overcome the language barrier. Fortunately, I suppose, I was able to understand bits and pieces of what he had said. As merchants in the capital, my family did business with people from other countries, and as a result, I had learned a handful of words. The problem was, it had been so long ago, I had no confidence whatsoever in my ability to hold a conversation. I am a servant. Servant? Can't say I remember asking for a lady servant. I suppose these things do happen. Doesn't much matter who they sent. Who are you? You weren't informed? Bloody hell. Off to a great start, I see. Well, what can you do, I guess? Name's Hayden Rose. Just a retired old man. As I am sure you've already guessed, this man was the Rhodes siblings' grandfather. He was also the first person I served under as the maid. For a member of an esteemed noble family, Hayden was a bit on the eccentric side. He hired a handful of servants, claiming he was not fond of clamor. There was a single chef, a physician, a servant to take care of all his cleaning, and then me, who served as a personal assistant. Whenever he got the chance, Hayden would chase me down and make me practice proper etiquette. According to him, I had much to learn. You are, at least technically, a servant of the Rhodes family, young lady. I can't be going about playing the country bumpkin act. Yes, sir. We'll have to do something about that accent, too, while we're at it. I have an accent? Thicker than bloody molasses. It's not the only thing thicker than bloody molasses. Now I have no interest in sticking my nose into your business, asking where you hail from. But while you're here, you must act the part, young lady. Lucky for you, I'm retired and have all the time in the world. I'll teach you everything you need to know about proper etiquette. Alright. Speak up, will you? Yes, sir. Hayden did not go easy on me either. In addition to my day-to-day duties, I study etiquette, the language, proper pronunciation, and formal diction. Anytime I made the slightest mistake, he would shout his dissatisfaction. Listen carefully. A servant is the face of a house. A servant's gaffe is her master's gaffe. Aw. Always keep this in mind. You're not just a maid. You must always act with elegance and grace. You must always maintain your composure, even if the house is falling down around you. Whatever happens, you deal with it quickly and quietly. The language must be immaculate. They are, in fact, not made to be broken. No ums, uhs, or pauses, for any reason. Yes, sir. No stammering either. Sorry. Bloody hell, you are not going to make this easy, are you? Whose idea was to put a country bumpkin would make a good servant? I'd like to give him peace of my mind. I am not from the country. Not even slightly. I was raised in the capital. Is that so, eh? I'm a proper city girl, are you? In that case, you should be a quick study. Absolutely. I can learn anything in a week, tops. Piece of cake. Is that so? Alright then, starting tomorrow, I'm tripling your lessons. I didn't think this through. In addition to being my master, Hayden was my teacher. When he yelled, he grew twice in size, and I shrunk to half mine. But it wasn't all an unpleasant experience.
Okay, I legit almost peed myself there.
Because I knew he wasn't raising his voice to belittle me. His instruction may have been harsh, but it was human interaction. There were people around that I could talk to, and that was wonderful. I was starting to regain some of my humanity. Unlike me, you've still got a long life ahead of you, young lady. You have no idea. I know what kind of life you've lived, but I can't imagine it's been all that easy. Not many servant girls your age without a home to go back to. Which is why I need you to learn this. Once you've gotten all the rules and customs down, you'll be able to hold your own at any noble's estate. You shouldn't have any trouble keeping yourself employed. I'm sure you think I'm just a loud, obnoxious old man, but I believe we met for a reason, so I hope you'll stick with me. I don't think about you like that at all, Master. You're a remarkable man. One more time. I deeply appreciate your generous consideration, Master, from the bottom of my heart. 9. This is almost happy. What's going on? I didn't know much about Hayden's situation, why he retired to this mansion all alone, away from the rest of his family, but anytime I asked about them, he would say, "It happens sometimes," with a melancholic frown. Before long, 2 years had passed. By that point, my etiquette had improved enough to satisfy his high standards. In that time, the mansion underwent a number of decor changes, as Hayden brought in sculptors to work on different areas of the house. He also sealed off rooms that were not in use, such as the observation tower and the chapel. It was a sad thing, seeing areas with so many memories for me falling into disuse. As a mere servant, I had no say in the matter. In addition, Hayden seemed to greatly enjoy renovating the house, so I watched him warmly. Yeah, I'm kind of interested too to see what's going on, whether or not it was all made up or what's... The furniture was all gradually replaced, gorgeous paintings hung on the walls, colorfully patterned curtains installed, and a brilliant rose garden planted. These roses come from all across the world. Nowhere else can you see so many different varieties in one place. Beautiful. Did you know that in the city, people are starting to call the mansion Rose Manor? Rose Manor. And to think there used to be nothing but weeds here. Amazing how much has it changed. I never thought I would see this garden turned into something so beautiful. Are you fond of roses, young lady? Yes, red ones especially. Red roses mean a great deal to me. They remind me of a time long past. Given one as a gift, were you? No, I believe I was the one who gave the rose. So red roses are a symbol of my feelings. They are very precious to me. I gave you a rose as a gift. You plucked it from its stem and placed it in my hair. Am I remembering correctly? My memories are so vague now. I can't remember the look on your face that day. There are some kids I'd like to give roses to myself. Who? My grandchildren. Oh my. You have grandchildren? Yeah, they really like each other. Alright, though we haven't been in touch for some time. Last I saw them was 4 years ago. When my second grandchild was born. The sweetest girl in the world, with lovely flaxen hair. The third, I'm on to you. She's going to be a real beauty when she grows up. Anyways, they're wonderful kids. And one day, I want to hand this garden over to them. Each and every rose containing my hope that they'll lead comfortable, healthy lives free of strife. I'm sure your wish will come to pass. Your grandchildren will have wonderful lives. No, I'm pretty sure we read, pretty sure we read a little bit. The grief of not having you around still weighed heavily on my mind. I was slowly approaching contentness. Life of Hayden was slow and uneventful, peaceful and relaxing. I imagined my heart was seeking anything to alleviate its pain. And I found that in the beautifully remodeled mansion, the garden blooming wildly with roses in my time with Hayden. I was even beginning to think this life was enough for me. That I would be okay with this being the end, if it meant more of the tranquility I felt. I was, like a coward, considering giving up the fight. Please do forgive me for ever considering such a thing. Save in here. Yes. He didn't seem to be high in spirits that day. A gift had apparently arrived from his son, who lived far away. In it was a tea set, some leaves, and a small jar of sugar. Yes, yes. How can I be of service, master? Brew me up a pot of this, would you? Be careful not to steep it for too long. You want to get it just right for the best flavor. As you wish, master. You seem quite pleased. Why would I be? Have all you shunned his old man for years, sent him a paltry gift on a whim? I'm just entertaining his fancy. Your tea is ready, master. Ah, what a wonderful smell. Tea and roses are life's best damn spices. I don't see what that boy chose for me. If it's no good, I'll be sure to write him an angry letter. So happy. He must really love his family. It's a little bitter. Should I brew another pot? No, it's not your fault. Must be something in the leaves. Would you like to add some sugar then? There's a small jar of it with the tea set. Now that's some bloody fine sugar he's procured. White as snow and sparkles in the light. He chose it just for you, master. Bloody hell, what demon possessed him? Alright, give me 2 spoons then. Here you are. Ah, splendid. This is some exquisite tea. The sugar balances the bitterness of the leaves perfectly. I guess that boy does have some... Master? The doctor. I need to find the doctor. Water, water. I'll get you some water right away. But please hang in there. Did he poison him? Ass. I didn't even know their story was sad to the beginning. Thanks to the quick treatment provided by his personal physician, Hayden survived. But he didn't make it out with much more than his life. He was permanently bedridden by the affair. Only the sugar I put in his tea had contained poison. which had done irreparable damage to his nerves and muscles. Most of his body was completely immobile, except for his left arm. Can I bring you something? Some water? I've had more than my fill of water. You don't need to wait on me hand and foot. That face says that you need to distract yourself by working. Remember what I told you. A noble family's servants must always act with elegance and grace. You must always maintain your composure. How can you expect me to remain composed? If I had only examined the sugar more thoroughly. You never would have noticed, young lady. I examined the sugar and didn't see a bloody thing wrong with it. It was damn crafty, that's for sure. Why would he do this? His inheritance, I presume. Something must have come up and he needed money quickly. That's no reason to poison your own father. Blood is nothing but an obstacle to ambition. Or maybe he just hated me. How could anyone possibly hate you? Perhaps that could be said of the me you know. But when you live as long as I have, you're bound to make an enemy or two. Mine just happened to be my son. I was planning to give him everything anyway. He didn't have to do this. It all would have been his. Master, telling me doesn't accomplish anything, but I guess it doesn't matter much. Say, could I ask you something, young lady? What can I do for you? I don't want it to get out that Hayden Rhodes was poisoned, so can you tell people that I passed away peacefully with a beautiful nurse tending to my every need? You're not dead yet. Please don't talk like that. You're scaring me. No stammering. But I'm not saying it'll happen immediately. But I am an old man, and one day you'll wake up and I'll be gone. This is about my own pride, not my son. The last thing I want is to go out with a black spot on my name. Let me do this, Giselle. He's never said my name before. As you wish. Thank you. You're a peculiar girl, you know. Sometimes you seem greener than the leaves in summer, and sometimes you seem like you've seen 12 kinds of hell. And every so often, you seem not of this world. Your skin is pale, your hands as cold as ice. At one point I thought you might be Death himself. But I was wrong about that. You have too big of a heart to be Death. You care too much. You must be carrying a very heavy cross on your back. Soon. What am I supposed to do? I don't want to lose you, Lord Hayden. I don't want to lose this life. You have someone, don't you, young lady? Someone you're dying to meet again. Yes, but I don't know anymore. I don't know how long I'm supposed to keep waiting. If something doesn't happen soon, I don't think I can hold myself together much longer. I was so close to breaking down, and it was you who kept me on my feet. I'm sure you've tried to remain strong plenty of times. I'll give you some different advice. Check for when you think you're losing hold of yourself. Build a I almost said coconut. Build a cocoon. A cocoon? A sturdy shell to keep your weak inner self safe. Now I really want a coconut. This world has no interest in protecting you, only swallowing you whole. You mustn't readily expose your true self. You build a cocoon, and you play the role you need to play. I mean, he could have said you could build yourself into a coconut, with that hard exterior and soft, supple inside. That way, the real you will remain unharmed. It's not pleasant to hide yourself like that, but it's better than letting the world crush you. Get the story by the grandpa. Oh yeah. But a word of warning: if you spend too long in the cocoon, the real you is liable to disappear forever. You'll be swallowed up by your own protective shell. I hope you find whoever it is before it's too late. Now I think I'll get some sleep. All this talking's worn me out. As you wish. Good night, Master. See you in the morning. See you in the morning, young lady. The next day, Hayden was dead. He had strangled himself with his left hand. He should have been more attentive. I should have recognized how much pain he was in. How much it crushed him to have been betrayed by his own family. I should have realized how he truly felt, how fragile he really was. He strangled himself. I fell into a hopeless gloom. I could hardly believe that the quiet life I had finally attained had been shattered in the blink of an eye. Aiden's other servants quickly went their own ways, and I vividly remember the dirty looks they all gave me. Everyone knew how he died. Assumed I had done it. I had no reason to kill him, though. But they had more than enough to believe so, for I had, indeed, been the last person to see him alive. And I held firmly to the story he had asked me to tell. While I was unable to convince the other servants, his family was far more accepting of the story, that he had departed for the next world happily. Though that did not make the truth any less heartbreaking, especially since I was the only one who knew it. Why does this always have to happen? I was happy. I can never seem to hold it off for more than a flash. Despair always comes marching in to rip it away. What am I doing here? What kind of person were you, Michael? What kind of person was I? You've ruined me now. Oh, my dear, you look positively miserable. Why should you despair at the death of some strange old geezer? Morgana. Was Hayden one of those whom you wish to be reconstructed? Oh, we're breaking 11 million. I'm down. I have no interest in that wrinkled bag of bones. And if he was one of them, do you really think I would have let him go so peacefully? Peacefully? You call that peacefully? You call his misery peaceful? I most certainly do, and since you guys seem to understand this, the pain of death lasts but an instant. The worst torture can only be inflicted upon the living. Oh, and Anki just broke 10 million, and Ildon just broke 12. You guys, calm down. We were possibly 8, but thank you. You're in the middle. You get nothing then. Setting two loved ones against one another, manipulating one into taking the other's lives, and then forcing him to live with that. The stage hasn't even been set yet, my dear. I said good day! And you would have me play a part in that? Indeed. You agreed to accompany me. You are here to be my guide. You're doing a wonderful job of it so far. I haven't done anything. Oh, but you killed that old man, did you not? Thanks to you, my wish is one step closer to fruition. What do you... You mean I killed Hayden? You mean to claim you didn't? Tell me, who was it that put the poisoned sugar in his tea? I didn't mean to. Your intentions are irrelevant. Everything moves along the path forged by my wish, and you shall continue to follow its will. You know what? I'm done feeling like this. I don't want anyone else to go through what Hayden did. And what are you going to do about it? I'm done listening to you. Without me, you have no influence over this world. Oh, well, I'll die. I'll take my own life right here and now. I grabbed a nearby knife and held the tip against my breast. My hands were shaking, my heart pounding, my whole body was racked with terror, but I could have sworn I heard Morgana gasp. This was her one weakness, I thought. What are you thinking? Don't do this, Giselle. Don't be foolish. Put the knife down right now. I'm done. Trust anything you say. Giselle, put the knife down. I've missed you so very much, Michael. Wanted nothing more to see you again. If my being Morgana's guide is going to cause other people suffering, then I can't. It's all over, Morgana. Huh? There's no blood. Not even pain. Why? Absolutely brilliant. I told you not to be foolish. You just wouldn't listen to me. You silly girl. I really am. I couldn't even die if I wanted to. You had a boob job, Ghost? Learning that absolutely crushed me. My backup plan, the one escape route I had thought available to me, had been ripped away. My spirit crumbled, and I felt myself sinking into a vast darkness. I began losing my grip on myself, which is when I recalled Hayden's advice. Build a coconut. was the only option I had left, my final chance of protecting myself, although ultimately I was unsuccessful in the endeavor, as you know. But by that point, my mind and spirit had all been lost, rotted away by the years of solitude, the witch's whisper, a brief glimmer of happiness, and the eternal, boundless darkness it had left me in. It was in that moment, like, can we think of any less sexy terms for that? All light drained from my eyes, and it was in that moment that the maid was born. Oh, dearest Mel, come over here. Em, you're back. There are so many beautiful flowers. Now, Nellie, there's no need to run. You're going to fall, and you can't say I didn't warn you. Hello, I've never seen you before. Are you the new maid? Good afternoon, Lady Nellie. It is correct. It is an honor to serve you. Oh. Did you do it all this? I did not. The garden was your grandfather, Lord Hayden's work. Oh, no! Wow. Is grandfather a wizard? Perhaps he was. I'm sure he would be delighted to know you like it. Did grandfather like flowers? Yes, he loved them quite dearly. I love flowers too. I've never seen a garden with so many pretty flowers. Did you know this kind of flower is called a rose? Just like our name. Oh yes, they do sound alike. I like flowers. You are also a very sweet little girl. And like flowers. Hey, what's your favorite color of rose? I like all colors. If you don't like any the most, that's too bad. My favorite is pink. Pink roses are so pretty. Indeed they are. Ah, geez, there you are, Nellie. Oh, my apologies. Please don't mind my sister. Oh, not at all. Oh, she minds you, though. We're having the most wonderful time. That's good. I imagine we'll be seeing each other around, so it's a pleasure to... Dearest Mel, what's the inside like? Mother says I have my very own room. Slow down, Nellie. I beg your pardon. Your one-time ghost. The inseparable siblings ran off towards the mansion, hand in hand. It was a heartwarming sight. Whoa, Nellie. But the next moment, when they stepped inside, I saw nothing else. The darkness enveloping the mansion seemed to flare up. The open door, a gaping maw into its hungry bowels. The whole house looked as though it was cackling. It was, I presume, the witch's Morgana's madness taking form, a manifestation of how she felt now that her centuries in the making wish was bearing fruit. Fruit. Those two children were the ones Morgana had been waiting for. Had I still had any willpower left in me to fight, I would have taken them by the hands and sent them somewhere far away. I would have done something before the house swallowed them up. But instead, I just gently lowered my eyes. Misfortune would surely sink its teeth into those two children before long. Pain and misery would befall them. Tits! The same fucking thing! I knew no good lay ahead for them, but my heart had all but frozen solid. My hands still taking care of myself. So I let Hayden's beloved grandchildren fall into the witch's hands. I was, for all intents and purposes, Morgana's marionette. Oh. At long last it has arrived. The time I've been waiting for so long has arrived. Darling, devoted Giselle. I know not how to describe for you the fiery excitement burning within me. Oh, I know, I can tell you my story. Exactly what that mild-mannered little boy once did. Be open to listening now, won't you, my dear? I'm sure you'll understand that I am doing nothing wrong. Because you're my ally, my trusty servant. You and I, we live in the same world. We're as close as family, are we not? Yes, as you say. So let's curse them. All of them. Let's inflict a pain worse than physical torture on them. Let's put their souls on the rack for all of eternity. Make them suffer. Now listen carefully, Giselle. This is a tale of wicked men and my curse upon them. Wait, you get a story too? Everyone gets a story. Reach under your chairs! The witch spat her curses for some time, the bile overflowing from her words, the pure, unadulterated hatred brimming within, consumed me more than any horrifying things they described. She was brutally honest, each word a carefully sharpened blade of animosity. How much bitterness did you have to carry inside you to become like her? How long did you have to feel nothing but hatred to become like her? I felt like if I let my guard down, I would be consumed by her enmity. It would become mine, and I would grow to despise them myself. All the while, I kept my mind in one single thing. That is, what was left of my mind, locked away in a shell of my own creation. The coconut. It was the solitary truth that allowed me to hold on to my human emotions, to continue believing. I'm always waiting. My love will never fade. When I was still my old self, I called them Master, and would do anything for them. Michael. That was their name. They were beautiful. They had pearly white hair and ruby eyes. They were going to come for me. Michael, all I can remember about you is your name, your glassy white skin, your fire red eyes, and your snow-colored hair. Nothing else. And that's why, when I saw her that night, dripping from the storm raging outside, I thought, you're finally here. Because I didn't remember enough to know any better. You already know who I speak of, don't you? The person who called upon Rose Manor that fated stormy night. The girl with almost translucently pale skin. Chillingly white hair and eyes like jewels. What a beautiful girl. Her hair, her eyes, her porcelain skin. It all matches the person in my memories. She must be the one I've been waiting for. If she is... Is something the matter? No, I just thought I felt someone watching us. It's only your imagination, I'm sure. If not your imagination, then perhaps some unseen force was watching you. Unseen force? Are you familiar with how people refer to this mansion? Rose Manor. Yes, indeed. It is called Rose Manor because you can smell the sweet fragrance of the rose garden even at a great distance. That is not what I meant. It is said that a witch resides within the house. A witch? I've not heard any such stories. You probably wouldn't have. It was a very, very long time ago. Nothing you need to concern yourself with. You have a peculiar presence about you. I consider that a compliment? A peculiar presence, she says. You sense something in me, as do I her? This has to be her then. Her name, I need to ask her name. It's getting late. You should get some rest. A room has already been set aside for you. But first, may I ask you one thing? Yes? I do not believe you have given me your name yet. My name is... Michelle. I knew it. You are the one. What? You are the one I've been waiting for. I've endured so much in anticipation of this moment that I could reunite with you. You came to this place to see me again, did you not? Held tight in those wonderful memories until you could make it back to me? I never gave up hope. I always believed, and I hope you'll praise me for that. And I ask you, say my name. But please make me... I don't know anything about you. Sorry, you seem to be confusing me for someone we have never met before. You jest. You are Michael, are you not? That is my name, yes, but it's a fairly common name. Here you're confusing me with... That cannot be. Got white hair, white skin, and those red eyes. And that name, the name of the Archangel. Everything about you is the same. You say you are not my Michael. Please, Michael, remember from me. Stay away from me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be rude. You would reject me? Sorry. I honestly don't know you. You care nothing anymore for the time we spent together? We have not spent any time together. You would deny everything? Sorry. Do you feel nothing for me anymore? You do not need to say anything, I understand. You are feeling a great deal of disgust towards me. No, perhaps it is fear. Yes, you are always so kind. You would not easily allow yourself to succumb to hatred. I understand. Please forget everything I have said. Who are you? In French, I guess. Yeah, I would have to guess that as well. Well, definitely now it's almost like confirmed, you know. But in the beginning, that was the same way. I'm just like, I'm not calling him Michelle. It's gonna be Michael. I am but a simple maid, nothing more. Laughable, isn't it? I no longer recognize Michael as anything more than a concept. Although maybe now I should call him Michelle, I guess? Man or woman, elder or infant, as long as they had white hair, red eyes, and the right name, they were you. It's actually my middle name. I needed anything I could get, but with an A and an E, you know? I was so desperate, the thought never even crossed my mind that she was not you. What do you think, seeing me like this? I am helpless and hopeless? Listen to this, Morgana. Michelle is back. She's finally come for me. She doesn't remember anything, it seems. Not me, nor our past. Nothing. She saw me and was afraid, in fact. Are you listening, Morgana? Ah, darling, devoted Giselle, you poor, pitiful soul. That must have been quite harrowing. But don't worry, you still have me. Besides, this might not be your only chance. As long as you continue on, Michelle could appear before you again. Do you think she'll remember me next time? I can't say. That's up to Michelle. You do have another option, though. Free Michelle yourself and seek out a new master. Who can be yours? Someone dedicated and faithful who needs you. Someone worthy of this mansion. Someone who needs me? That's right. Michelle didn't need you after all. It's alright, don't worry. You have plenty of time. This song is super creepy. I like it a lot. Creepy. Makes you feel like you're going mad. Oh, you calm that pouty ass down, Em. Oh, go party. Looks like Michelle is now a girl. It's raining again today. I kind of wonder what happened to him. After he fled from the mansion, although I suppose it doesn't much matter to me. Seems like it. I mean, it's like she also said the waiter girl is never at fault. The witch is surely watching him. A dreadful storm. It sounds like someone crying. I was, at that point, completely out of my mind. Broken. My smiles, frowns, and gas had all been replaced with imitations. Shortly afterward, the flaxen-haired boy moved out of the house and went on to become a priest. The girl fell ill a few years later, her disease eventually taking her own life. The boy never once returned home. The Rhodes family crumbled. I couldn't bring myself to grieve for them, or to reflect on Hayden's sorrowful end. I simply waited for time to begin moving once more. We're on the second one now. Descent, the second visitor. True. We get... This will be ending 4 coming up. So I need to get 7, and then the 8th one is the real one. A lot of game left. Little remains to be said about my broken self. As I stated before we began, this is the Maid's tale. I'd like to take this opportunity to elaborate on events I was unable to show you before. That is, if you compare to listening to such a dismal, miserable story. I mean, we've been here for quite a few hours, lady. Or man, or whatever. I already told you of my meeting with the beast, so I begin the second tale from here. After Vestia slaughtered the merchant who showed up at the mansion, his mad laughter echoing through the halls. Yeah, it's been... On a scale of 1 to 10, it's hard for me to rate this higher than like a 6 on the happy scale. I would say that's fair, right? I'm not fast forwarding it, by the way, it's literally is going like that. Hey, did you hear that? Did you hear his screams? He said I was a monster. A mutilated body laid sprawled across the living room floor. As you can imagine, that was my first time ever seeing such a bloody, mangled corpse. I could not look directly at it, so I averted my eyes. Hey, you saw it. This proved that beasts are stronger than humans. Indeed you did. I know, I've got a great idea. You asked if I wanted to become the master. And I said I did. Which means you work for me, isn't that right? You'll do whatever I tell you to do, won't you? What would you have me do? Chop up his arms and legs and make a stew out of them. And don't you hesitate, or you'll end up like him. Yes, master. He's trying to assert his total dominance over me. Not proper behavior for a master. Although I am the one who's offered him the role. Do it. Well, hopefully they add salt, because I hear human is pretty sweet. He's an utterly mad beast. Isn't it really all that different? Ah, there's blood all over my hands. It sounds like someone's laughing. Is it him? Or is it her? Yeah, I still want to find out what happened on the ship. No matter what happens, it won't affect me. Because they never really mentioned too much about it. The coconut is not the real me. I was looking down at what could only be described as a pile of human debris. I had done this. But that fact did not register with me. I felt nothing at all. No regret, no anger. Not sorrow or despair. Put it on the fire. He said he traded in spices. Just to give him a very unique flavor. It's kind of funny. How am I supposed to work with this? I was quite simply puzzled. I would assume red wine? No one had ever made such a request of me in 100 years at the mansion. That's all I was, puzzled. But he interpreted it as hesitation or fear, so he grabbed me by the shoulder. He knocked me to the floor, and he skewered me with a curious blade of his. Go on, Diabetes. Welcome, Raiders. How you doing, Nim? This is a tough one for me to break down for you guys, so we'll just say I'm OAG or Ken. Playing some house in Fata Morgana. We're going through a not so pleasant memories of a maid, and we are currently. How do I put it? We are making human stew, I assume. Thanks for the shout in the defense. How was your races? For the first few moments, he wore that deranged grin of his, but as the seconds passed, it slowly transformed into shock. Not a drop of blood spilled from my breast. And the instant he realized it, I saw revulsion in his eyes. Him, of all people, a man who cackled as he slaughtered others, was disgusted by a mere maid? It was absurd. So much so I almost wanted to cry. Is that all, Master? Are you not going to dismember me? You try stabbing my face, or my neck, or my stomach, or any other part of me. Maybe then I might die. Oh now, don't look at me as like I'm some exotic creature. Okay, she's mad too. Stop that, quit laughing. Why should I? My only distinctive feature is my smile. I have nothing else. My hands are covered in blood, but I can still smile. It's ridiculous. I get it now. You're the witch, aren't you? I see. Only monsters ever had a place here. So often I hear a woman's voice in my head. That's you, isn't it? You're the witch. Monster? Witch? Maid? What am I? Who is Giselle? Uncle said she was spirited, true to herself, that she often laughed and cried and shouted. Yes! Thank you, video game. No context, just a semi-naked lady for the new people. But I don't know anyone like that. I'm just a maid. Nothing more than a servant. The woman's voice he had said he heard was probably the real witch's. I had no interest in that. I almost would have preferred not having to think about anything at all. Nothing would cause me to waver if my head was empty. It was not a sexy scene, so don't worry. A world without joy or sorrow sounds quite wonderful. It was quite a sad scene, but nothing ever went the way I planned. The white-haired girl, whom I thought I would never see again, appeared before me once more, and I was quite nearly in a panic. Beneath my perfectly practiced smile was a veritable storm of emotions. Faint hope flared up within my shell. Perhaps this time, Michelle would remember me. That hope was unsurprisingly in vain. Is someone there? Yes. I came by to ask if there was anything you needed. I cannot offer you anything extravagant, not like before, but I am here to provide you with anything in my capacity. I appreciate the offer, but I need nothing. Being allowed to stay the night is more than enough. Do you work here in the mansion? Yes, indeed I do. I've been here for a very, very long time. A very long time? You might think this is not a question, but have we met before? Something about you seems familiar. And I get the feeling I have been in this mansion before. Yes, we have met. Quite some time ago, though. When was it? It was an unimaginably long time ago. Remember a boy and a girl with flaxen hair? Hair. I apologize. My memory fails me. Do you not remember me either? I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember anything this time either. I will not be so pushy this time. I could not bear to be so blatantly rejected again. I see. You should probably not push yourself to remember then. There were joyous times, and there were less than joyous times. She got scalped, yes. But would you be so kind as to answer one question? What might be your name? My name is Michelle. White hair, red eyes, and the name Michelle. Why must you continue to bring me pain? Why can you not set me free as you were supposed to? See, you are Michelle again. Again? You should get some rest. I'll make some tea for you in the morning. Also, go on, close your eyes. The white-haired girl lay so quietly in her bed I could not tell whether she was asleep or awake. Even the sound of her breathing was too faint to hear. Stand over her, looking down at her. The locked away despair and wails of lamentation I thought myself no longer capable of came bubbling back to the surface. Can you honestly blame me? I've been waiting for Michelle for so long. She was the only thing holding me up. She was the only thing keeping my broken self from falling apart completely. Yet she claimed not to remember me. Did you pity her, having to go through tragedy after tragedy? Every time she showed up, she said she did not know me, bringing me more and more grief. I had been waiting for hundreds of years, waiting for her for so long, my mind slipping away with every passing day, waiting and waiting and waiting. My apologies. I've been careful. I have to be careful, or I'll slip back into what I was then. And we'll find out what that was in a moment. Because I need to go grab myself some more drink. My throat is crushing me already. All the time. Yes! I'll be right back. Excuse me.
Puff, puff.
Aw, yeah. I will check it afterwards, I promise, Diabetes. I get rid of you. We're gonna read a little bit more of this, and then I gotta eat, maybe watch a movie. I gotta tell you, walking around with one sock is way weirder than walking around with like no socks. I have to be careful, or I'll slip back to what I was then. If you weren't here holding my hand now, Tell me, you are Michelle, aren't you? That's a relief to hear. Yes, thank you. I'm alright. You think I'm as muddled as I feel? Let's return to the tale then. You don't know what it feels like. You don't know how much it hurts for someone you waited for so long to say they don't know you. You have no idea how much it crushes me. Rather than feel like this anymore, maybe I should just end it all with my hands. My own hands, but you can't. I reached my hands towards her slender neck. I was not an especially strong woman, but I thought even I would be able to suffocate her with relative ease. She was blind at that, so she wouldn't be able to run. However, that was the one thing I could not bring myself to do. I can't do it. I ran and I ran and I ran. Though I knew I had nowhere to run, plunging myself into the mansion's darkness, I didn't want to be here any longer. I didn't want to have anything to do with her. But being an inhuman inhabitant of the house, I could not close my eyes or plug my ears to what happened within its walls as much as I may have wanted to. It didn't matter where I was. I had no say in the matter. I was forced to observe the events until their tragic conclusion. Twisted, bloody madness. Their wretched wails creating a whirlwind of misery. When it was all over, Morgana cackled like a little girl. I mean, this is gonna be a fast part then, maybe? Go on, you have a laugh too, my dear. There's nothing in the world better than this. He was a beast through and through. And what a fool he was to think he could become human. I love it. He destroyed everything he had with his own hands. Then he couldn't even manage to mourn for it. Quite the unfortunate fate, wouldn't you say? Pretty much right now, it seems as though Michael, I called him, which is who the maid fell in love with, keeps being reborn as the white-haired lady, which I thought was going to be his sister for some reason. I guess not. So she's been alive forever, trying to get Michelle to remember her. Quite the unfortunate fate, wouldn't you say? Go on, laugh with me. Laugh with me, my darling, devoted Giselle. Michelle is dead too, though. You're worried about that tiny little detail? She'll show up again, of course. You don't need to worry about a thing. You don't need to feel bad about any of this carnage. Rest easy, my darling, devoted Giselle. If you say so, then I shall not be concerned. Yes, that's good. Laugh, laugh, my dear. Okay, we're slowly going crazy. Well, crazier. Alright, now we're on the third visitor. I'm supposed to come up to one of the endings shortly, so maybe I'll reach it before the end of the stream. I apologize for making you listen to my dreadful stories for so long. Sounds like every stream of mine. You must be quite wary of them by now. But worry not, for this is the final one. And despite being the end, it is neither dramatic nor exciting. It was a single phrase, the most insignificant of things. It caused me to completely lose myself and forget I had long ago been the woman called Giselle. There was no malice in it. It was but a simple greeting. Remember how, the first time she arrived, Michelle said I had peculiar presence about me? You felt something there was between us. And the second time she said something about me seemed familiar. I do not remember why, but her soul recognized the bonds we shared. I assumed that the next time she showed up she would feel something even stronger, or perhaps even have her memories. Despite having been let down again and again, I still held on to the faintest glimmer of hope. But when she appeared, she was someone else's wife. Hey, head maid. Get out here. I'm right here, sir. Is something the matter? I fear you should get to know her as soon as possible. You will spend a lot of time looking after her. Hey, get out here. Christ. There's not a goddamn confident bone in your body, is there? I'm sorry, I'll be right there. I'll be right out. The first thing she said was when she saw me was, "It's a pleasure to meet you." It's a pleasure to meet you. What did I spend all that time waiting for? It was all for naught. It was all meaningless. In this era, she felt nothing at all for me. In retrospect, it makes enough sense. But for me at the time, that was the end. Morgana, Morgana, cast me into darkness. Make me a formless being like you. I don't want to be here another second. I don't look at her even. I don't want to look at her ever again. Morgana, please listen to me. I'm begging you. Now, what's the matter, my dear? It's not cute to throw a tantrum. I can't take it anymore. I can't do this. Michelle again? Oh, you poor thing. Betrayed 3 times now. Morgana, you pitiful girl. Don't groan like you've had a bad dream, my dear. I'm here for you. Please, Morgana, erase me from existence. If you go away, then I will be all alone. And that would be absolutely dreadful. But tell me, what torments you so, my dear? What? Michelle, whom I've been waiting for so long, doesn't... Oh, you poor thing. You spent so long riding the currents of time that you've lost sight of yourself. What? You convinced yourself that someone else's story is your own. Someone else's? Yes, indeed. It was such a beautifully tragic tale you fell in love with it. It resonated so deeply with you that you felt their pain as if it were your own. What are you talking about? I wanted to tell you, my dear, but you were so convinced it actually happened to you that I couldn't bring myself to take it away. Then what about Michelle? She's not the one you were waiting for. And you were not hers either. Then what about Giselle? That is not your name. Then who am I? Who are you? That's a very silly question. You're this mansion's cursed witch. I'm the witch? That you are. You're both the maid and the witch. But how? Do you truly believe that someone who has eternal life, who doesn't bleed when they're cut, who can smile no matter what happens to her, isn't a witch? How much of this Giselle's memories do you actually possess, my dear? How clearly can you remember her life? You can't, can you? You don't know what kind of story Giselle and Michelle wove. And you wouldn't, because you were merely an onlooker, much like you are now, for this present tale. And by contrast, how much of the witch's story do you know? You should know it very well. Yes, that's because you... No, my telling it to you is not the reason. The details are rooted deep within your memory. Then That's right, you are the cursed witch Morgana. But you... I am you. You split into 2 because you refused to accept who you were. Think about it. Have I ever shown myself to you? Have I ever shown myself to anybody? That's why I'm the witch? That you are. I see, it all makes sense now. Everything has fallen into place. There's one thing I still don't understand, though. The story I was so enamored with. Giselle and Michelle's story. What kind of story was it? I'll be glad to tell you. You look like you're ready to know the truth. I believed every word she said. All my worries melted away like they were nothing. The sight of the white-haired girl no longer kicked up waves in my heart. In fact, I found myself wishing for her to find happiness. I was an observer, watching and hoping for the best. The tragedy that befell her did sadden me, but I felt bad for her like I would a character in a story. I brought you your medicine, Master. Thank you. Just set it down over there. Yes? What are you staring at? My apologies. I was simply musing about how much time has passed. I can hardly believe it's been 40 years since you were a bright young businessman. And you haven't aged a day. I thank you. I'm a witch, after all. Well, I don't much care what you are. You be the Grim Reaper for all I care. You still work harder than anyone else. May I ask you a question, Master? What is it? Why have you not returned to your homeland? I thought it was a place quite dear to you. I can't wait for her back there. You still believe she will return? To a degree. I understand how difficult it can be to wait. But for me, waiting now brings more joy than pain. With your lifespan, Master, it will be the pain that wins out. Perhaps you should consider letting go. Tell me, was her name really Michelle? Well, yes, it most certainly was. But why would you ask such a thing? Have you forgotten your own wife's name? You have waited so long that it would seem, like me, some part of you has begun to break down. You poor, poor man. You know, you look a whole lot more pitiful than me. Oh my. Oh, there you are. What has you in such a flurry, my dear? You are a noble servant. You must maintain your composure at all times. But the master, what about him? He was found deceased in his chambers. The doctor just came out. He said it was his ailment. It would seem the master knew his time was short, for he left a will, asking not to be given a funeral. I see. You don't feel bad for him, though. Not only did he not have anyone at his side for his final moments, he didn't want to be sent off at all. Isn't that sad? It's for the best. There's not a single soul in this world left who could send him off. But I'm just going to go with the flow until the end. With your era drawn to an end, this mansion will soon return to existing nowhere in this world. I wonder what the next one will look like. I wonder if misfortune will befall her once more. Quite regrettable. Perhaps if I can convince her of her tragic fate, she'd be willing to disappear from this realm with me. If she wishes to fight that fate, perhaps she will become my next master. Calling her master seems inappropriate, but I cannot think of a word that fits better. I agree, I wait the next era. Not keep me waiting for long, Master. The Final Visitor. So the chapter is named. Sorry, I'm saving so much. Again, I'm not really sure how the game plays out at all. Time pressed onward. And my, endings guide that you don't fuck it up is literally a paragraph long. Oh. And then, at long last you arrived. How long your hair is. Oh, splendid. You have finally awoken. I've simply been waiting so long for this moment. Sent into the mansion all by my lonesome, ensuring it was ready for your return, Master, whenever that time may be. When I caught sight of you through the window, my heart fluttered. The time had finally arrived. Oh my, do you not know who I am? Do you not know who you are either? This is quite the predicament. Then how about this? I'm a servant of this mansion, and as such I am familiar with the many incidents that have taken place here. I shall show you the history of this house, Master. Let us be off then, and fear not, I merely entreat you not to let go of my hand. Should you hold it tightly, you need not worry about being washed away by the waves of history. No matter what happens, you mustn't let go of my hand. No matter what happens, no matter what you see, never again let go of this hand. That is everything. I prepared a number of things to say when she finished her tale, but I can't manage to put any of them into words. I almost hate myself for thinking it would be so easy, for letting myself hope I could simply pull her back to her old self, accept whatever had happened to her, take her hand in mine, and that would solve everything. The truth is so much worse than I imagined, so much more harrowing. She was subjected not only to her own terrible fate, every single one of this house's tragedies. The tales she told me are things she witnessed with her own eyes. How can I possibly blame her for forgetting me? For forgetting herself after so many hundreds of years? No, I should be... Why? Why didn't you come for me? Why couldn't I return before she was gone so far? So far gone. Why? Why did you show up now? Giselle, because you opened the door to my memories, I now remember everything. I didn't want to remember. I didn't want to be reminded of all those empty years, of the people who passed on, leaving me behind, of you who refused to show up no matter how much I begged. I'm not the Giselle you knew anymore. I may have my memories, but I cannot go back to that time. My hands are stained with blood, my soul worn thin. The girl who would laugh at the simplest things, who would tell silly jokes and wasn't afraid to speak her mind, doesn't exist anymore. That Giselle is dead. How can you say I'm the same girl? How can you say I feel the same way I did? Be sure that even now, I still love you. You deny the possibility that I am no longer yearn for you? But the white-haired girl? Can you deny the possibility that my love for you is transformed into hate? She brings her hands up towards my throat. I make no attempt to move out of her way. When her fingers brush against my skin, they feel as frigid as death itself, far colder than anything I have felt from her thus far. If she were to wrap her hands around my neck, she wouldn't even have to squeeze to stop me from breathing. This is a fork in our road. One word will decide everything. Alright, this is my part. I don't have much time. I have to say something before the cold robs me of my voice. I wanted to deny it. She may have forgotten me, but what she felt still remains, as evidenced by her attraction to the white-haired girl, who had many physical similarities to me. Her feelings are still there. I sincerely believe that. But her arctic gaze caused me to waver for the briefest moment. Perhaps I only wanted to deny it for my own selfish reasons. It was only a few short seconds, but those seconds decided it all. Farewell, Michelle. She slides her slender fingers down my neck and gently shoves me back. Giselle. I'm falling, sinking into my own darkness, torn and grown. I reach my hand out, but I cannot grasp anything. Her hand, the hand I held for all this time, is so far away. I try to shout, but nothing comes out. I can neither answer her original question or say her name. Down and down into the infinite void, darkness consumes everything. My voice, my hands, my very being. And her gaze. My consciousness slips away. Why did I hesitate? I wish I could have at least told you that I still loved you, even if you did not love me. Yeah, it was my whole Halloween thing. I'll do it for the rest of the week. Are you sure you really wanted to let him go? Yes, I'm sure. See, I don't think I'll ever understand. If you hate someone, you should chain them down and torture them for all eternity. It was a perfect opportunity to trap his soul. I do not hate him. Oh, is that so, my dear? After everything you said, I simply assumed. I could never come to hate him. I could never want to see him dead or tortured. Then why did you say what you did? I don't think you would understand. Probably not. I'm not particularly interested in understanding either. Well, thanks. I wanted to actually do a permanent dye, but that didn't work out so well, so instead I have like a hair coloring putty, which kind of gives the whole gray illusion at least. It doesn't matter what happened in the interim. In the end, nothing's changed, has it, my dear? You are still my darling, devoted maid. With enough time, you will once more forget your name. What a wonderful world this is. And this is the fourth bad ending. So you just had to not pick anything at that moment instead of denying it. Waiting 2 streams to get to that damn part. Alright, let's go. One word will decide everything. I don't have much time. I have to say something before the cold robs me of my voice. It's a super fast time event, they said. Of course, I'll deny it. And what do you say he denied? Oh. We'll just have to find out another day. Because today is not that day. Today is food time for Ken. So, guys, gals, everybody.